Hello, Wombat. Welcome to the next episode of Isekai Realms, where we are playing ourselves, pulled, kicking and screaming into the Forgotten Realms, and trying to survive and maybe get home or maybe thrive in our new setting. I am playing Elric Thalavar, who is Eric Scott DeVee in the Realms. I am Eric Scott DeVee, not to be confused with Elric Thalavar, who is a paladin of Helm and trying to fulfill his obligations and also take care of all of the shit that I put on characters in the realms and try not to let on who he is. I wanted to give a shout out to upcoming material for the dungeonscrawlers that may already be showing depending on when this is showing, but we have a lot of cool stuff coming up and you should look forward to it. Take it away, Allie.
Hi, everybody. I am Alexander Pitchford, Allie for short, and I play, myself, but going by Amara Valerian, a moon elven thief trying to make her way in this fantastical world with no intention of going home herself, because why would I? But also, I'd like to take a sec to tell you about one of our sponsors, which is Idle Champions. Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms is a strategy game that unites iconic Dungeons & Dragons characters from novels, campaigns, and popular shows into one epic adventure, including Farida, Havilar, and Mehen from the Brimstone Angels novels. The game is available for PC and Mac on Steam and Web, Epic Game Store, Google Play, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, iPad, iPhone, and on all Android devices. For more information, check out idlechampions.com.
Hey,
Rhiannon?
Yep. I know my order.
Okay.
I'm Rhiannon Held. Apologies in this episode that I'm not on camera, but I've got some back stuff and my setup doesn't lend itself to being on camera. So I am an author of Urban Fantasy, the Silver Series, and Space Opera, the Amsterdam Institute series of novellas. I'm also a professional archaeologist. And I have two dice partners to tell you about. Norse Foundry specializes in metal dice. When you roll them, it feels like you're skillfully smashing the rigid armor of the monster horde. You can find their dice and accessories at norsefoundry.com. Phoenix Dice is named for the creature that rises from the ashes because they use all recycled materials. You can find their dice and accessories at phoenixdice.com. And that's over to Joel.
Hello, everybody. I am Joel Everett, usually one of your mods in chat under the handle Rumpus Imperator, punishing our players with polls for which there are only bad options. And I am playing myself as a fighter, and I do not have an adventuring name yet. In fact, I've avoided giving my own full name because I'm trying futilely to maintain a low profile. Not going to happen with this group. Randy, over to you.
Hi, Randy Henderson. I'm playing Randonius Maximus Hendersonius, a bard and semi-cleric of Finder. Yeah, that'd be me. Over to you, Chris.
All right, thank you, Randy. And I am Chris the Grey, your dungeon master for episode 9 of book 2 of Isekai Realms. And when last we left our heroes, they had returned, some of them, from an expedition to Skullport, new pet in tow, had met up with Rhiannon at the promenade, had some lengthy internal conversations as a group about the future, based on the things that they encountered while they were in Skullport, and conversations that they had had with their mysterious passengers, who were becoming less and less mysterious as the days go on. Decided amongst themselves that they wished on some level to start pushing back a bit more against those mysterious passengers, and came up with sort of their short and medium term plans going forward. Then they went to sleep. Allie had her evening conversation with her mysterious passenger, and the last thing anyone remembers was Eric nodding off, watching their black and silver furred ferret friend, who they have acquired a couple of episodes ago, similarly on alert, watching the party sleep as if to guard them.
I'm not sure I trust that ferret, but yes. Yes.
I'm not sure that ferret trusts you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, And so we will begin as they awake the next morning, and we'll use morning in bunny ears because the promenade kind of functions on a night shift schedule in the morning here. And what will wake you all in the morning will be a knock upon the door. So Eric, you're sort of slumped up against it, asleep, and someone's knocking on the other side of it. When you open your eyes, you will see that the ferret has nodded off in a little curled up ball on Rhiannon's back, who is sleeping face down at the moment on her bed.
Okay.
Over to you.
I summon the sword.
Vindicator springs to your hands.
What are you doing?
Just being prepared.
And, all right.
There's a knocking again, gentle knocking. Less of a "I'm coming to kill you all," and more of a polite wake up
Just
knocking. But you never know.
Sure.
Never
Sure.
I always
know.
like when
It's-
your killers knock first. That's always
Polite. Yeah.
You
Land
never
shark.
know. You
Do-
never know.
Do you want
All
to
right,
stand
get-
off to the side with the sword all menacing while I answer the door, or do you
No,
want
I'm
answer
going
the
to.
door?
I'm going to answer the door.
All right.
I open the door a little bit.
Okay. It is Layla, the priestess of Elistray, who has been your guide and companion here at the promenade. And she seems like a little surprised to see that you have a sword in your hand, at least catches a glimpse of it through a break in the door. But she will say, good morning. Is all well?
Yes, I had dreams of armies of malicious ferrets coming to kill us. Please come in.
Oh, no. And she'll enter the room. The
Please.
malicious ferret is grooming itself as it sits up on the bed, hopping off of Rhiannon.
Please.
Does the
forgive
ferret seem to
Elric.
have reacted to what I said?
Is the ferret
Scrutinize the
smart
ferret.
enough to is the ferret smart enough to understand that you were talking about malicious ferrets? It would seem so.
Hmm.
Anyway, go ahead, Allie.
Please forgive Elric. He's a bit overcautious. It's good to see
She's
you.
nodding.
Layla.
It is good to see you as well. Elistray welcomes you to a new dawn. Ilzreen bids me tell you all that the way has been prepared for you to depart, and we are hoping that perhaps in half a bell's time, bell being about an hour, you will be ready to join us.
I would say so.
Very
I
well.
think we could. I'm
I
looking
shall
around at the
bring-
others.
I shall bring you some food for the road. I will return shortly.
Thank you.
And off she goes.
Malicious ferrets, Elric?
You never know.
Well, it sounds like a more pleasant dream than mine.
Oh,
Well, I didn't exactly dream. I had another conversation with my friend.
and what did your friend say?
Well, unless she's really good at lying. Like, better than I anticipated. She's not connected to Shar.
Well, that's good.
It's a situation similar to Rhiannon's, unfortunately.
That's less good.
My mind
Rhiannon,
seems to be
no
a
need
less
to feel
than...
alone anymore.
Oh boy.
Oh, good.
My mind seems to be a less than happy host to lust.
All right, there's no response from anyone on
Just-
that one.
just silence.
Elric is trying really hard not to say it. That sounds
you can
bad.
see him struggling.
You could look a little less smug. All right.
Look, character growth. Okay. Well, I trust that you declined to do whatever it was that your passenger suggested.
Thus far, it hasn't asked anything of me other than what we're already doing.
So, crack on is the advice from
Yeah.
your passenger. I understand. Sorry,
Look,
I tried.
We've already
Okay.
We've already established, and I mentioned this before, that they also want the children protected
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for whatever
All right.
reason.
Well, we're going to protect the children, but we're not going to do it because the devils tell us to. We're doing it because it's the right thing to do.
Yes.
And
But I
as
didn't-
if by magic, there's another knock on the door.
Oh,
I already have the sword this time.
Okay, it's true, you do.
Igniting
wanna-
a sword is Eric's coffee. It's what he needs to get going.
Hey, yeah,
Look, I didn't
Right?
ignite
Well,
the sword. I just summoned the sword.
Just sit there
It's not
pretending to
dripping
sharpen
silver
it or
fire.
something, so you've got a reason to have it.
I am just going to like check out the balance and make sure it's true and straight, you know, like I'm testing my weapon. I
Like
cuddle with it a little bit. I just kind of nuzzle the handle.
like
you know.
he's doing his sort of like sword tai chi or
that's
whatever he does in the morning.
okay. Well, while he's doing that, I'll answer I'll answer the door.
On the other side of the door is your tiefling friend, Zara.
Oh. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Come in. Come in.
All right.
I'll step
You
out of the
will
way.
enter the room. You will see that she is dressed for travel. She even has a backpack on her back.
We talked about this previously, right? What the deal you set up, Joel?
You started a conversation on the subject. You didn't finish it.
We did not
Mm.
actually make any arrangements, at least as I
Mm.
recall. So yeah. And I am still asleep as far as I know. So
You're awake. All of this,
Okay,
all of this
I-
excitement
I-
woke you up.
wake up with my one boot on, pull the other one on.
Got it. It's a two-boot morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
She
hello.
will say,
Joel.
I was advised that you were departing shortly. And our last conversation led me to believe that you might want to talk to me again about that subject.
Well, we are headed. It is correct that we are headed up to Waterdeep initially, and then to points beyond. And we are looking for childcare options for the babes and for Gedrin. Or some
About
combination
that-
thereof.
She says, I want to start out by taking a moment to apologize. I could tell from your expression the last time we talked last night that my decision to let Gedrin toddle off on his own, even though I was having him watched and knew this place was safe, was probably not the one you would have preferred. I'll just confess that while he's a sweet boy and he's waking up at this particular moment, the twins are still asleep, but he's waking up, all dewy-eyed. I'm drawn to the girls. And so having to make a choice, I made the one that was the most obvious for me. And for that, I apologize.
I did want to ask about that. Something occurred to me afterwards. You said you had him followed, but we did not observe anyone following him.
That does not surprise me.
You mentioned that you are a rogue. Are you by any chance someone connected to, do you have shadow-related abilities? Is that who you had following?
No.
Okay, just shut
My hiding is the old-fashioned kind.
Okay.
The person I had following him was one of the members of the Protectors, who I flagged down in the hallway after he left.
The snorting and giggling on my part, absolutely in character.
In character, snoring and giggling occurs. So if you want my help, I am interested, but I'd have a couple of conditions.
Go ahead.
First, it would be for a short while, perhaps a 10-day to start. Second, only if you have a safe place to stay that keeps the children out of danger. And last, I asked if I ask to return here, you must promise to bring me back to the promenade right away.
Okay, so two of those are definitely not a problem. We apparently have a portal set up going from here to a place to a place called Trollskull Manor up in the city, and there is a portal. There is a two-way portal that would allow you to return here at will.
Her eyebrow will go up, suggesting that sounds powerful.
It does, and it gets you out of it gets you back up to Waterdeep, but also gives you the ability to return. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think we defined whether or not that portal was permanent or whether it would expire at some point in the future. But if it was not fairly permanent, they probably would have mentioned it. If it was, say, only for a day or something.
Yeah, they said we could use it whenever we like to come back.
So.
And
our next destination. I am not sure how long it would be until we came back. We are actually headed for the Rock of Brawl.
I do not know what that is.
That is someplace. I don't
fair.
actually know how long it will take us to get there and back. But
It sounds like an island. Is it in the Sea of Swords?
it's in no.
kind of an island.
No, it's
It depends on how bright Salune is that night.
We will be taking a boat to get there, but yeah, we'll
Let's not get lost in the weeds here.
yeah,
It sounds like a Forgotten Realms wrestling arena this Sunday at the Rock of Brawl.
We won't be taking the kids with us there, though. So,
correct.
So I would need to watch them while you were gone.
Yes.
I'd ask this then as well. I'd like to know your long-term plans for them, especially the twins. What do you intend to do with them?
So would we?
That is an excellent question.
they need somewhere to grow up that's not being dragged around.
So, all right. So if we are potentially leaving you alone with the kids, I look around to the rest of the party. I think we kind of need to bring her up to speed. It would be unfair to her not to. And anybody disagree?
Rhiannon, this is to you.
Yep.
We think it would be wise to bring her up to speed?
I guess actually you can't see me put my fingers to my forehead,
I
can you?
I'm just gonna assume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I do about this one thing. So I trust. So.
Very well. Let's see how this plays out.
So I'll imagine fingers off the temple. I'll look at Joel,
Yeah.
and say, there's a lot of stuff that's at play, and I think that she needs to know about that which pertains to the babies.
Right.
Just
right.
but
okay.
I figured.
All right. So I turn back to her and I ask her, have you heard of a warlock named Briseis Kakistos?
No. Should
Okay.
I?
She is rising in power right now. She is maybe not somebody you would have heard of yet, but
Is she in Waterdeep?
We don't actually know where she is right now, but we think she may be the babe's grandmother. However, we also think that she may be. We think
Is she evil?
Yes.
I see.
It depends on how you look at it. But probably.
I mean, there's different flavors of evil, but she definitely falls into one of those buckets.
She'll cock her head at you in a way that suggests that she doesn't understand the concept of different flavors of evil. To her, it seems as though there is evil and there is not evil.
Okay, so
There are three primary flavors of
Look,
evil.
we're getting stuck.
Lawful
Let's-
evil.
Let's move on.
let's not
move
have
on.
that. So we think that potentially she means the children harm, possibly including sacrificing them as part of a ritual.
But they are of her blood. should say.
Right, which is part of what makes them valuable to her.
See the above note about evil.
Right. Or possibly she just wants to claim them back because they're her grandchildren. But we are not, we have not encountered her, so we don't actually know what her intentions are. But she may be, there's a good chance that she is, well, actually, we don't even know for sure that she knows they exist. But
She now looks like she's taking in a lot of these things that you're saying, and they're confusing her.
Well,
Yes,
okay.
there's a lot to take in here.
At
But
the very least, I feel like their mother, may she rest in peace, would
Did
not
you
have
know her?
wanted them. Briefly. We met her briefly, but I feel like, given the lengths she was going to,
And
she
that's
would
the
not
standard.
have wanted.
And that's the standard dry chuckle, Rhiannon. Go ahead, Allie. The links.
Given the lengths she was going to, I don't believe she would have wanted them to fall into her hands.
I see.
So we
I
are
see.
trying to keep them safe for her.
If this is true, if this is your primary concern, and you are trying to keep them from the only relatives that they have, because those relatives, she's turning now in your direction, Eric, are evil, in what seems to me a very clear way, I want the twins to have someone like them around them to watch over them, to see that they aren't alone, they're not strange. And I recognize that people will probably assume that they're mine, and I don't care. Let the world think what it wants.
They are extremely cute. It's true.
I'm okay with that, personally.
Unless you can find a suitable dragonborn to watch over them.
Elric.
I
What?
think
It has
are
worked
Dragonborn
before.
even a thing at this point?
It has
in
worked
Good point.
history?
before.
What were you saying, Rhiannon?
it's good for their safety to
Yes.
Agreed.
seem like that they're, somebody else's.
But given that we are being given the use of Trollskull Manor, topside, that should be a safe and secure place to keep them.
Very good. Well, while I feel that there is perhaps much more that you can tell me, that's really all I need to know for now. I'll come with you for the children's sake and to see if the world outside has changed at all. Let's give them a chance together. When do we depart?
At this point, probably about a quarter bell. Is that the?
Very well. Well, she'll sort of jingle the backpack on her shoulder. I'm ready when you are. So I'm going to go grab something to eat. I'll be right back.
I'm gonna get equipped.
Okay. And as she's departing, Layla is returning with a little simple breakfast foods. Mushrooms, a bit of cheese, a bit of tack, and a little bit of mushroom wine. You have a moment if you need one.
It's not morning without wine.
It's not drinking beverages of any kind without wine.
Elves.
I was
Anything
being
more?
sarcastic.
I figured that was the case.
But yeah, Amara at least will take time to eat something and then get geared up.
All right,
Preferably
sounds
somewhere
good.
out of sight, obviously.
Anything else from anyone in here, or are we simply waiting for scarfing down a little food, getting dressed, gathering our gear, and waiting for someone to take you to the portal?
Anyone else have any dreams of note that they wish to talk about?
No, but I have ferret fur on my coat. What's
I knew it. The malicious
ferret
ferrets did invade.
The ferret
ferret
is
was
looking up at you.
the ferret
as if he
slept
is
on your
offended.
the ferret slept on you last night, or at least he was there this morning.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna look at the ferret, and well, actually, is the ferret feeding itself from breakfast, or
At the moment, it's still grooming itself.
okay.
Just sitting on the bed that you were previously occupying. When you look at it, it looks at you almost as if it's slightly indignant over the fact that you would be disturbed by the fact that its hair might get on you.
Like that
How
was a
offensive.
present?
Have we named the ferret yet?
Well,
Randy
so-
Keep
sort
calling
of
it the
named
ferret.
the ferret.
Well, when I thought it was
and-
mine, I was actually going to change it from Poto to Grinnin' Ferret, but
Ah,
Grinnon
God.
Ferret.
Oh my god.
that is classic Randy Henderson right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Well, so I was gonna sort of look it straight in the eye. I'm making little
Yeah.
2-finger eye staring motions that you can't
Got
see.
it. Yeah.
And say, so are you somebody else's familiar? Like shake your head or nod your head.
Okay, it'll cock its head thoughtfully and then very slowly, as if it's, I'm being patient with you. It's kind of its thing. It'll, in an exaggerated motion. Humans, they're so frustrating.
She'll get it. Just be patient
Humans.
with her.
And
So-
Gedrin will say, "I told you he was special."
Well, I got that, he can understand my questions. That's why I'm talking to him. So despite me not doing anything, do you consider yourself my familiar now?
Its eyes will twinkle a bit as if it were amused by that statement, and it will once again exaggeratingly shake its head no.
Okay, phew. Okay.
Okay.
Do you consider her your familiar? Ferret.
It will rub its little hands together and it will do
Oh my god.
All right, the ferret's in charge.
Well, okay, because I was gonna be like, oh, phew, you can like ride with Randy if you want, but okay.
I'm not sure I like where this is going.
If I could hear it, I would just
So fingers to temple. Well, I mean, obviously you're, birds of a feather here, like showing up and like meddling in my affairs.
It's afraid it has competition.
I'm part of who you are. It isn't. And I don't trust it. But it's a ferret, I suppose. As long as you keep your eyes open and your wits about you, it probably can't kill you in your sleep.
Unless you're allergic.
Well, okay then. I was thinking a little bit about a name, so unless you have like a name that you would like to spell out for us or something, I don't want to like randomly name you against your will.
His name, this is Gedrin, is a secret, remember? When he's ready, he'll tell us. The ferret will...
Oh, okay.
Boy, eat your mushrooms.
Yes, Papa.
Yeah.
I
Well,
also went
I
back
mean-
and rewatched that conversation where Rhiannon met the ferret for the first time.
Well, okay. So I was thinking about names, and so in lieu of like, hey, furry two brat, I'm gonna, I think for now I was thinking, because the twins, I had suggested we name them Argentia and Aurelia for
Mhm.
gold and silver. So I was
Mhm.
thinking about the iron ferrous, Ferrous, because then you can just be like, hey, Pharaoh, and that'll do for now,
And
unless
that'll
the
do.
ferret unless the
So-
ferret objects.
So you'll say to the ferret, here's kind of what I was thinking in terms of, what I was going to, just so I have a way of referring to you, et cetera, et cetera. And
Yeah.
the ferret will shrug its shoulders, as if to say, whatever makes you happier, familiar.
Well, if I'm the familiar, he should be feeding me so he can get his own food. I'm not going to feed him.
Okay, I guess we'll see how that goes. All right, so we've resolved the ferret dilemma in the short term?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So you're dressed, you're fed, kind of, you've all kind of crammed some food down. coming back a few minutes later is going to be, this time, both Layla and Zara.
All right.
Okay.
Zara will
Hello, come on
bustle
in.
over and pick up the twins, one on each hip, unless someone tells her otherwise.
Oh, I'll just, I'll be, oh, yep, careful, Silver, we call her Ari, loves to play with fire, but don't let her eat it, because then she has the ruts. And Goldie, who we call Ari, she loves you to sing her to sleep, but she likes orcish metal. So, blood, give me blood. Kind of.
I'm not sure I
stuff.
know any of those tunes, but I am confident
okay.
that you will help me when the time comes.
Yeah, sure.
Don't worry, they won't be far away from you, Randy, she'll say.
Okay.
Shall we then?
Okay. All right. So, if in fact you are ready, you will be escorted by Layla through the promenade. Okay, so she'll do that, and you'll go through the hallways. It'll take you to the Cavern of Song, and then northwest from the Cavern of Song to the Priestess's Quarter, and then on from the Priestess's Quarter to Kalue's private chambers, which is where you expect this portal to be located. As you arrive at Kalue's private chambers, Layla will hand you off to Ilzreen. Ilzreen being the hand of the protectors, the tiny but fierce female head of the defenders of the temple, who you recall having met on many occasions before. Special creation of Ed Greenwood. And as Layla goes to depart, she will embrace you, Allie, and say, may the goddess guide your steps through whatever darkness is to come.
Thank you. And I'll return the embrace. You be safe.
You as well. Okay. And so, and then she is gone. And it is just all of you, Zara and Ilzreen. She'll lead you to a dressing room outside of Kalue's chambers, which is a serene, softly lit space. The walls are adorned with delicate glowing fungi that provide a gentle luminescence, casting a warm, inviting light across the room. Rich tapestries depicting scenes of Elistray's dance and moonlit forests hang from the walls, adding to the room's, tranquil ambiance. A large, and large is like 7 feet tall and 3 foot wide, oval, ornate mirror with an intricately carved wooden frame stands against one wall of this room. It's reflecting the sort of soft luminescent glow of the room. The frame is detailed with images of a city by the sea, with intricate carvings of waves and ships in a harbor. A comfortable plush chair is positioned beside a finely crafted wooden dresser next to it. Ilzreen is standing in front of the mirror, and she will say to all of you, are you ready to depart?
I believe so.
Yep.
Before we go, just very quickly, I understand that we will be able to use the portal to come back. How would we activate it from the other side?
I will explain that to you in a moment as I explain to you how to activate it from here. It will be monitored. And so while it will not be instantaneous response that will get you from there to here, in short order, it can be opened for you. Yes, Elric?
Is Gedrin coming with us, or is he staying behind with the twins? Or are they all coming with us? They're all coming with us, right?
Yeah, they're
Yes,
coming
they're all coming.
Trollskull. And then we go on to Rock of Brawl from there.
All right, boy. Mind the cat.
Okay, so you're handing the cat off to him?
Mm-hmm.
The cat, Eric, you'll notice, doesn't like to be very far away from you. You rescued it, and then you had it tucked in the breastplate of your armor, so it was sort of nestled against your chest. And it seems to sort of like to be in physical contact with you almost all the time. It seems fond of Gedrin, but you're It's Daddy.
Yeah, I know. I'm helping the cat socialize with Gedrin here.
Okay, fair enough.
So it's a process.
Okay.
If the
So as
cat
you-
squirms too much, I'll take the cat back. But like, we're working on it.
Got it. It seems content enough for now. But that's just just letting you know by way of it has an attachment, and that attachment is you. Okay. And so she will say, was there something else, Joel, or are you now ready?
Oh, I was just gonna say, so we cannot activate it ourselves. We would be sending a signal to you, and then you would open it from this side. Is that
Yes,
correct?
that is
okay.
more or less the case. The signal will be to Kalue.
All right.
All right, very well. She'll approach the mirror and raise her hand, her fingers glowing with sort of like a soft blue light. As she does so, she'll trace a sigil in the air before the mirror. Simple sword bisecting a round orb, which similar to the symbol of Elistray. And as she does that, the room becomes charged with magical energy. You can feel the hair on your arms and the back of your neck go up. A faint hum fills the room as the sigil takes on a life of its own, growing brighter and more intricate with each passing second. The mirror begins to shimmer, and the carvings of the city by the sea start to glow softly. The air around the mirror seems to ripple and distort like heat waves rising from hot sand. Ilzreen steps back from the mirror and gestures for you to step forward. The portal, she says, will take you directly to Trollskull Manor in Waterdeep. Remember, it's a fold in the weave itself, so you'll step through and find yourselves at your destination essentially instantly. When you wish to return, Joel, approach the portal through whatever serves as its exit on the other side and call out to Mistress Kalue, asking for access to this place.
All right.
I mean, it makes
So
sense. She wouldn't want us popping up randomly into her quarters anytime we wanted to.
This appears to be a dressing room after all. So, what's our order of departure?
I shall boldly go first.
Where no one has gone before.
And I'll follow after.
Anyone who's ever used that inn has gone before, but yes.
Fair enough. All right, so Eric, Allie,
Rhiannon, me, Joel usually is kind of the order with the squishes.
where do we
in the
want
middle.
where do we want Zara?
But we'll go ahead
the
and
kids?
send
Oh,
Zara and then Gedrin in before I go.
Okay, so the last person out the door is you, Joel.
Yes.
Second last person out the door is them. Third last person out the door is Randy. Is that correct?
I believe
Okay.
so.
Right. So Eric, boldly striding forward. The thing is 7 feet tall, so you have to stoop only slightly in order to be able to come into contact with it, right?
He's growing.
The realms has made me taller, even taller.
Every day. It's just
I'm even
scary.
taller than B Dave now.
Yeah. How tall
Anyway.
is he? I didn't know he was that tall.
He is 6'8".
Oh, okay. So he's got
He is taller than
an
me.
inch on
B
you or
Dave
something,
is taller
okay.
than me. Yeah.
All right. So do you just want to put your foot into the mirror like you're stepping through it, or what's how does one travel through a mirror?
I played enough video games. I just push my way through.
Okay. Start leading with the hand. Okay. So as you do that, sort of like it meets very briefly with resistance and then passes right through. And as it passes right through, for a brief moment, it feels like you're being suspended in a void. The sensation isn't, frightening or uncomfortable. It's as if you're enveloped in a cocoon of soft white light. And then sort of the interior of the mirror seems to stretch infinitely for a second. And then with a gentle pop, right, you take a second step and find yourself standing in a completely different place. The completely different place is inside of some sort of a kind of somewhat claustrophobic here, wooden structure that has like curtains, woolen curtains, like that it's almost like you're backstage someplace and there's like big woolen curtains in front of you and it's pitch dark in here. What do you want to do?
Well, I pull on the shadow bin mask so that I can see.
So now you can see. The curtains are not curtains at all, but clothing, like a bunch of heavy woolen cloaks, and it smells in here. I think you're inside a wardrobe.
We came to a wardrobe, didn't we?
Try and find my way out of the closet.
Okay. So you will push forward, sort of moving through a couple of rows of cloaks, and your hands will come in contact with what are probably the paneled doors of this thing. And you can just push them right open. Yep, this is a gigantic wardrobe. Do you wish to step through it?
Yep.
And out. Okay. I'll describe the room you arrive in when you've all arrived in it. But suffice it to say, Eric is through. So Allie, next is you. You will have a similar experience. A little bit disorienting at first, but the doors are now open to the wardrobe. So there's a little bit of light trickling in. So you'll savvy to the fact that this is a Chronicles of Narnia situation pretty quickly.
Yeah. Amara will kind of like slip out, look at the wardrobe and go, that was easier the second time.
And then through is Rhiannon, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Okay. Rhiannon, similar experience. And you're through, you'll see Allie moving, through the cloaks at the back end of the wardrobe. And be in it yourself. Anything special, or did you just want to get out of it into the room beyond?
Nope, just keep going.
All right, fair enough. And then, Joel, it would be Randy. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, so Randy, as you're lingering in Quell's quarters, ready to step through the portal, and Rhiannon is going sort of ahead of you, a familiar presence begins to materialize beside you. The air grows a tiny bit colder, and a soft, comforting glow forms in the figure of Jamal. Her dusky skin and raven hair are framed by the usual ghostly light, her serene features tinged with a hint of anticipation. She says, Randy, before you step through the portal, there's something I need to say.
Okay.
You remember the spot near the baths where you sense the lingering power of Moander? Or should I say, Finder's power now? There's a connection there. A place where the past meets the future. I hope you'll return to the promenade at some point to set up that shrine we talked about.
Sure, of course.
Good. It's important, not just for you, but for Finder. His influence needs to spread, and that place, it's as if it was waiting for you, waiting for something new to grow from the remnants of something old. And she'll put her hand out, and as she does so, it'll sort of pass through your shoulder in a little bit of a cold feel to it, as it does when she tries to come into physical contact with you. So, promise me, Randy? Promise that you'll come back and do this?
I promise that should the opportunity arise, I will do so. Yes.
Do you think it won't?
I can't predict the future.
None of us can. But
He's
I
not
suppose
that kind of cleric.
But I suppose that statement will have to do. Thank you, Randy.
Well,
okay.
Thank you.
So, and she will
me company.
Dematerialize.
And so there was a noticeable pause where we saw Randy talking to empty
Yes.
space?
Yeah,
Okay.
there was a noticeable pause where you saw Randy talking to empty space. Do you want to say something to Randy about that, or?
I'm just wondering if Zara has a reaction.
Yeah, I mean, she's watching you, but nothing special.
Maybe just so you're tracking, we have a ghost friend who follows us around as well. or Randy does specifically, who he can talk to.
She'll, like, her mouth will open for a moment, and then it'll close.
She's an adventurer, she gets it.
And she'll just sort of very slowly and subtly shake her head slightly, and sort of, okay, I'm gonna let that go. I'm just look down at these babies. My job's the babies. I don't need to know about the ghost friend. Cool, whatever. That seems to be. She's taking that in stride, buddy.
Usually my policy in life. I really don't need to know about your ghost friend.
Yeah, I mean, right? You do get the impression, Randy, that Jamal dematerializing is probably some sort of an indication that she can't pass through the portal. So she probably is keyed to you. So like where you go, she can appear, but you don't get the impression that she can stray far from you. Does that make sense?
Yep. Okay.
So ready to go through the portal yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. So you will
I'm gonna
emerge
go in
a...
butt first, just for the fun of it.
All right. So you'll feel the
Cracks.
scratchy wool cloaks upon your back as you're
That's right.
moving your way outside of this giant wardrobe. Do you have something
Elfia music? Sail away, and just playing in the room will fade.
Randy's
And-
just making a rear exit from the closet.
Ah, yes, indeed. Okay. And that leaves Zara and the babes and Gedrin, who will go forth next. They'll emerge a little bit confused, but hale and hearty on the opposite side. And Joel, it's you and Ilzreen alone in the room.
Right. Ilzreen, thank you for your assistance while we've been here. And we will see you soon. And
You're welcome. And I hope that is the case, Joel.
And I will go ahead and do a 2-footed jump into the portal as if I'm going out the side door of a plane. Okay.
So could you roll a dexterity check for me?
And here we
Oh
go.
jeez. Oh jeez.
Well, I got a 1.
All right, so that's good, because you'll arrive on the other side and immediately sort of like jump into a pile of cloaks that are hanging in this wardrobe, and you'll sort of stagger through them, but you won't get caught in any of them. Instead, sort of tumbling out from inside of this giant wardrobe and into the room beyond. Everybody will look at you.
Welcome to Narnia.
Exactly. I was gonna say, is there a fawn waiting room?
Or I guess
Yeah, if you-
not Narnia.
For a light
the
post.
other way.
If you see Mr.
Yeah.
Timnus, you might want to run. Okay.
Okay.
Don't eat the Turkish delight.
Yeah, Tony. Well, unless it's tasty. Okay, just don't take carriage rides, and you'll be all set. So as you emerge from this enormous, and it's bigger. It's like 9 by 6 foot wardrobe into the common room. Looks like a den, right? On the second floor, you can tell it's the second floor because, as I'll describe it in a moment, there's like a window that's kind of like those bay windows that's out onto the street. So you can tell you're not on the ground floor of this place. The wardrobe, you'll note, seemingly ordinary, is made of dark polished wood and features delicate engravings of the moon and stars. The room you emerge into, which is lit by candlelight, is cozy and well appointed, with plush chairs and a large intricate woven rug covering the floor. The scents of wood soap and lemon polish are strong, which indicates that a recent thorough cleaning was done to this room. Mops, brooms, and buckets are neatly stored in one corner, further evidence of the fact that the place was recently cleaned. As I said, the room is furnished. It's got comfortable high-back chairs, small tables, the woodwork being polished to a high sheen, and the upholstery of a rich dark green. The walls are adorned with tasteful paintings of pastoral scenes and landscapes. There's a large ornate fireplace dominating another wall, although it's currently unlit. And soft moonlight streams through the tall bay windows, with a few strategically placed candles providing an additional illumination. It clearly appears to be just past dusk in the world beyond the windows. As you kind of adjust to being in this room, the door to the hallway opens. Anything from any of you before whoever is passing through passes through it?
I'm good.
So this is an inn, right? We're not expecting to fight in here.
Well,
That's
it's
to
a
the group, I
manor.
presume.
I mean,
Slash,
I wasn't there for that meeting, so
it's as far as I know, it's not in use as an inn at this point in time. We were given it as like a place to stay in the interim.
I don't know
Like,
anything
I don't
about it,
think-
but I have to say, Trollskull Manor sounds like a really friendly place to me.
Okay, I summon my
Point being-
armor. Here we go.
Point being, I don't think. Well, A, I don't think they're probably expecting us, and B, I don't think there's going to be like random patrons here.
I mean,
But
we're finding out.
squatters, maybe. All right.
This
Deadly
place has been
squatters.
freshly cleaned.
Okay, so you'll have that little
You
conversation.
never know.
Eric is
All
now
right.
ready, armed and armored.
right.
Rhiannon probably knows the most about this place insofar as she had that conversation with Tormil Gost, who
sure.
said, "Oh, that's actually a pretty nice place to stay. It's typically rented by rich travelers or adventuring companies. It's sort of like a, Playboy mansion that they stay in." Of course, he didn't know that,
Yeah.
phrase. But if you think of it that way, it's kind of like there are some mansions like this on what's known as the Cliff Walk or Cliff Watch, out over the sea on the other side of Mount Waterdeep. But this is one in the North Ward itself that seems to be known for the fact that it's kind of like a party central sort of a place. If you're rich and you don't own your own place and you're in town for a while, maybe you rent this place. And so it's not surprising that A, it's pretty swanky, and B, it's freshly cleaned. So on to whoever's going to come pouring through the doorway, and whether or not they'll be festooned with threatening ferrets. It turns out they aren't. No ferrets, except for the one that you brought, appear to be in their company, and it's just two people. An older man who looks every bit the part of like an English butler, white hair neatly combed, carrying himself with an impeccable posture, dressed in tailored dark clothes with polished shoes, standing with his hands clasped behind his back. He's got deep brown eyes that are sharp and observant, taking you and the group in with a discerning gaze. Despite his formal appearance, there's a warmth to his eyes and a hint of a smile at the corners of his mouth. He appears to be maybe in his late 50s, but his movements are fluid and graceful, suggesting that he's still very much in his prime. Standing beside him is a young woman in her early 20s with a kind of exotic beauty. Her long, dark hair, nearly black, falls in soft waves around her shoulders. She has a lithe and agile build. She's dressed in tight breeches and a fitted tunic, which give her an air of practicality. Her rich, deep brown eyes, identical to the older man's, mark her unmistakably as his daughter. Her complexion, however, is a warm sun-kissed hue, hinting at perhaps Kalashite heritage. There's a calm confidence in her demeanor, and she's carrying herself with the grace of a maid, but her attire and stance seems to suggest that she's a bit more capable than all that. The man steps forward, his voice smooth and refined. "Welcome to Trollskull Manor. I am her caretaker, Arton, and this is my daughter, Laura Lynn." He gestures at the woman standing beside him. "We have prepared the manor for your stay at Lady Silverhand's request. If there is anything that you need, please do not hesitate to ask."
Thank you.
Okay.
Arton, are there any other guests staying here at the time, or do we have the whole place to ourselves at present?
So he'll pivot first in your direction, Allie, and incline a slight bow, and then tilt his head in your direction, Joel, and say, "Lady Silverhand has cleared the manor. You are its sole occupants."
All right.
Hail and well met. Thank you for your gracious welcome and your service.
Hail and well met. I've taken the liberty of providing a bit of food in the dining room downstairs, as it is time for an evening feast, and I didn't know if you had managed to eat as of yet.
Well, the boy can definitely eat.
He'll nod. enthusiastically.
Should
Well,
we introduce ourselves? I shall introduce myself. I am Elric Thalabar. Does he
Amara
seem to
Valerian.
react to that name? Because the Thalabar might be a name that's
He
important.
does not. Yeah, either he's just really good at hiding those sorts of reactions, or he doesn't know what a Thalabar is.
Sorry, I stepped on
Yeah.
Allie there.
You're a long way from Westgate, Eric.
It's true.
Amara Valerian. And I'll kind of do a slight little bow.
Randonius Hendersonius. My music is the toniest.
Hmm.
Is that grown out loud, Allie? Is that grown
Yes.
out?
Yes.
Yes, mine too.
Okay. Joel, a deep sigh followed by.
Deep sigh. This is Gedrin. This is Zara. We will be traveling a bit. Zara will be remaining here with the children, initially, for the time being at least. Could you perhaps arrange for some space for them to be in the nursery? Is there a space that would be suitable as a nursery?
There are a number of
the
guest
bedroom
rooms.
nearby for her.
It will say there are a number of guest rooms. I will see to it that my daughter takes you on a tour as I prepare our meal. So you can decide at that time where you would like them to quarter. I'm sure we can find some.
Excellent. Thank you,
Your name, good sir? I didn't catch it.
Joel.
Well met, Joel.
I almost thought he'd get out of it there.
I
I
know.
was just gonna like come along behind.
Yep.
like,
No.
This old man is a bit more deft at that than you thought. Okay, go ahead. Rhiannon?
I'm just gonna say Rhiannon and then sort of start walking. Like, no need for extended introductions.
Yes,
Let's-
indeed. Where are you walking?
Well, I mean, there's a door out of here, so.
Out. Okay, I'm walking out. Okay, fair enough.
Well, you know, where you sort of like ooze towards where you know you're going and you wait for your guide to sort of take a couple extra steps to get in front of you.
I was just going to describe. They'll scramble to
Yeah.
get ahead of you and open the door. But yes, I guess you know how this drill works. You've watched enough Bridgerton to know what to expect in this situation. Okay. So anything other than that from the rest of you? Or are you just going to follow along for the tour?
I'll follow along.
Follow along.
Mhm.
I have to say, after your description of the mansion, I've never been so glad that a black light doesn't work in the Forgotten Realms. So,
How do we
look
know that
forward
it
to seeing
doesn't?
this?
How do we know that it doesn't, Randy?
Yes.
Quick, nobody email Ed about that.
Yeah, I know. You'll get an answer you won't want. Okay. So
Usually.
with Rhiannon leading, you will exit the room. I'm just going to give you the overall description of Trollskull Manor rather than take you in the specific floor by floor approach that you would go on, because you're presently on the second floor of this room. So I'll just kind of give you an overview. I'll note that Arton will, as promised, sort of disappear down to the first floor, moving like sort of faster than Laura Lynn, his daughter, as she takes you on a tour of the place, starting with the second floor and actually leading you up to the attic and then back down to the first floor to give her father time to prepare the food that was promised.
Does Laura Lynn have any apparent weapons? Just the way you describe her, it sounds
Roll
like
a
she might be
20-sided
armed.
die, Joel.
Sounds like she might be armed. That's a 2.
All right. Those weapons aren't apparent, but when you look at her closely enough, you will detect that she does, in fact, have a rather wicked-looking small dagger tucked into the back of like her like tunic slash breeches combination, and it's hidden by the fact that the tunic covers it most of the time, but sometimes when she moves, because it's fairly tight, you can catch a glimpse of it. So she is not unarmed.
When you say wicked looking,
It's
care to
curved.
expound on that?
It's
Curve.
curved.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if you know anything about Kalashite culture or even Al-Qadim, which is part of the Forgotten Realms. You'll know that they use something, and I'm going to mispronounce this, but Jambaya, I think it's called, which is basically like a curved dagger, much like it is in use in like Saudi Arabia. And so it appears to be one of those, which sort of confirms the guess that her mother was probably Kalashite. Okay.
Jambaya is a very cool knife.
That it is. Okay, so shall I give you the description of Trollskull Manor?
Please.
Okay, here we go. Trollskull Manor stands at the corner of a cul-de-sac alleyway, which is Trollskull Alley, and a main road in the North Ward of Waterdeep. It's a 4-story building constructed of sturdy stone and wood, with a gabled roof and a small tower that sort of juts out, which gives it an almost castle-like appearance. At the moment, at least, it's well maintained, the stone walls pristine, and the wood beams solid and dark. I'm going to give you ground floor to attic, the description, even though you're going to get it attic to ground floor. The main entrance opens onto a grand entry hall on the first floor, the polished wooden floors gleaming under the soft light of the many candled chandeliers, and the ever-present scent of that wood soap and lemon polish fills the air. Again, signs of recent cleaning, mops, brooms, buckets stacked in corners. To the left of that entry hall is a large sitting room, space pretty inviting with plush chairs and sofas organized around a central fireplace, the mantelpiece of that fireplace adorned with ornate decorations, and a large mirror that is designed to reflect the glow of the fire when it's lit. It's not at the moment. To the right of the entry hall is a grand dining room, which is where you're going to end up. Long wooden table dominating the space, surrounded by high-backed chairs, table set with what looks like the realm's equivalent of fine china and silverware, ready for a feast. Large windows allowing natural light to flood the room during the day, while elegant candelabras provide illumination in the evening. At the back of the first floor is a large kitchen with an expansive pantry, a central island for food preparation, and small servants' chambers. The second floor, which is the one you arrived on, houses a guest bedroom, an adjoining spare room, along with the common room and spacious den, where people can relax, read, play games. It's there that you arrived in the den, stepping out of the giant ornate wardrobe that I described. The den's got that large window that looks out over the street, providing a perfect spot to watch the comings and goings of Waterdeep's citizens. The scent of lemon polish is particularly strong here, as though it were perhaps the most recently cleaned room in the mansion. The third floor consists of 2 bedrooms, each furnished with comfortable beds, wooden wardrobes, and writing desks. The rooms are simple but elegant, with clean linens and thick drapes that can be drawn to ensure privacy. Each room offers a view of the North Ward, one out onto the main street, the back out onto Trollskull Alley, providing you glimpses of the city streets or the quiet courtyard below. There's a large library and study occupying the eastern quarter of the floor. The attic, which is accessible by a narrow staircase, has been sort of turned into some kind of a storage area. It's filled with old furniture, trunks, and the other remnants of past guests and activities here at the mansion. And it's also got what looks to be something like a cot set up for yet another servant to potentially sleep in. So you've got a servant's quarters on the first floor and a potential servant's quarters in the attic. Dust boats dancing in the beams of moonlight that filter through the small windows, giving the space sort of a little bit of an ethereal quality. Behind the manor itself, and visible from one of those bedrooms on the third floor, is a slightly sunken area that offers a peaceful little retreat from the city. Well-tended flower beds, a bench around what looks like some kind of a large fruit tree. Are those apples? Oh, those might be apples. And a small stone fountain are a sort of serene little environment where you can rest and relax. You will end up on the first floor in the grand dining room, and that is where we will take our first break.
All right, don't go
Okay.
away. We'll be right back. And we're back. Take it away, Chris.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so you will enter the grand dining room on the first floor of this place and immediately be assaulted. Eric, you're ready to fight by the smells and sights of food that have been laid out on the table for you all. It's a little bit of a feast, although you get the impression that it was kind of like thrown together. They clearly knew you were coming. Not a shock, given that Laryl obviously told them that was the case. And so they prepared some food, and it was just a question of, take it off of whatever it's being heated with or whatever and put it on the table.
I'd rather have a salted food than unsalted food because
I mean, right? You don't want
seasoning is important.
Bland is the worst. Yeah. So it's kind of a combination of some cold cuts style stuff and some hot food. And so the colder food is what looks like a plate of pickles. I mean, those have to be pickles, right? And some sort of a sauce that's in like a little clay bowl that smells definitely of garlic. So that's it's got like a creamy tan color to it. So that's got to be some sort of a garlic sauce. There's 3 like hard wheels of cheese in differing shades of pale to orange, and some hot biscuits covered in melted butter. You can tell they're hot because they're covered in melted butter. And then on another set of platters, there appear to be these skewered meat on these sticks, basically sharpened sticks about 8 to 12 inches long. Looks kind of like a kebab. And it's definitely 3 different types of meat, sort of like lighter to darker. And one of them has got this like green sauce drizzled over it. That's probably mint.
Like Chihuahua, Pit Bull, and
yeah,
like,
Great Dane. Yeah,
Great Dane. Okay.
For the elf in the room, how are we on the vegetable front?
Yeah, exactly.
On the
Me too.
vegetable
And the
front?
vegetarian, pescatarian.
Pickles count as a vegetable, right?
I mean, garlic sauce, I'm all over it normally, but like in the realms, we
yeah.
don't have deodorant or mouthwash, so I'm like,
Speaking of beverages, there appear to be a couple of those here as well. There are goblets that look like they're made of some kind of a metal, which you're hoping isn't lead. And then there are at least 3 bottles. What looks like an ale, what looks like probably some sort of like a beer or a stout. And is that like bitters? That might be bitters. Huh. No fruit juice, no water. It's alcohol, and alcohol. And then these various things laid out across the table. You will see that as you enter the room. Also, as you enter the room, to you, Rhiannon, sort of like deep, satisfied sigh. Waterdeep. Proper city, unlike that crumbling underground refuge. No rotting temples, endless shadows. Here, there is wealth, power, and opportunity. Fit for someone of your talents, don't you think?
Nope.
Dry chuckle. Well, at least have some of the food.
So I'm gonna request, let's see, because I need something to drink. I don't want to be dehydrated. I'm like, can you get me wined water? Not water, but like just a little bit, like watered wine, but just like the smallest amount of wine possible.
This is to Arton, yes?
Yeah.
Yes, what I could do for you, we have ice, and I could chip off a bit of it, fill a goblet with it, and then douse it in some wine that will help to melt it. Would that be to your liking?
Sure.
Very good. Would you prefer like a brandy?
The lightest drink possible. So
Very good. Perhaps a mead. I think we have a bottle of it somewhere in here.
sure.
Very good. Okay.
They
And
probably have Czar.
they probably do.
Yeah,
you don't
but
see it. You don't see it here, Eric.
that's fortified, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
even more of a.
That's pretty strong. That's pretty strong.
Yeah.
For those of you who didn't pick it up, that's an inside joke about Rhiannon's character in our Westgate Irregulars campaign, who is a big fan of Czar.
Interesting.
Anyway.
That's going to prove very entertaining later in the evening. Anyway, go ahead. Yes.
Is there? And like Amara will look at the spread, and I recognize that like her palette has changed. Like my palette has changed a lot since transforming.
Yes.
I'll be like, are there any more like vegetables? Things like
I've carrots. I've tomatoes. He says that word like it's new to him. And I've radishes, turnips. I could chop some up in the kitchen for you if that would help, madam.
yes, I think that should help. Yes.
Very good. Apologies. I knew a bit about all of you, but I did not know that you were an elf.
It's all right. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. And he will bustle off to the kitchen, leaving you alone in this room. Your ferret friend has leapt down onto the table and seems to be going from thing to thing, exploring it.
Wait, just make sure that you don't like put your mouth on it. Like take a piece in your hands, would you? Just for the other people.
He will cock his head back over his shoulder in what must be tremendous indignance at the very idea that he would go head first into these various human foods.
When did this ferret develop an attitude?
Well, it's always that way.
yeah. When did he
Like
start
2
to show
seconds
it,
after
is
he
the
was
question.
born.
Yeah. When did he start to show the attitude is really more the question. Okay. So that's a thing that happens. Gedrin's kind of looking up to you, Eric, like, can I just grab food off this table, or?
Eat up, boy.
All right, and so he'll go diving in towards the skewers.
No, use the silverware. It's fine.
He looks confused as to how one would do.
All right. Well, I'm gonna try and demonstrate. I'm gonna say, okay, so you start on the outside and you work your way in.
So you'll all sit down at the table. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Zara has sort of like seated herself with the babe. She's taken out the milk container that she's got the wineskin that's filled with milk. She's got the little feeding apparatus that she uses at the base of it to sort of like substitute for breastfeeding, and she's feeding the babes rather than eating herself to start with.
I want to point out that I took the etiquette non-weapon proficiency, and I am working on training Gedrin in etiquette.
All right, there you
I
go.
think he's going to need to know that.
Yeah, it's a useful skill for everyone, Eric. It really is. Okay, so it's some good dad-son bonding time at the table, teaching him etiquette. And so does anybody not want to eat anything, make a point of eating anything?
I'll wait until the vegetables come out, and then Amara will kind of like load up on mostly that, some pickles, some of that garlic sauce, but then like she'll get some of the pieces of meat, like just little bits. She's definitely kind of like leaning into that, because that's what just seems palatable like right now. So she's leaning into that elven food preference.
Yes, seems entirely reasonable to me. Joel, I think you're on mute.
After a couple of days of eating elf food, I think I'm on my skewer by now. So, protein, thank goodness.
Okay. Do you want to try one of each of the three?
Yeah, I'll try. Yes,
Yeah, that's definitely a mint sauce on that Great Dane. So you'll have to, maybe ask to see what the food actually is.
I'm not sure I want to know.
Okay, fair enough. Randy?
If it's really good, maybe I'll ask.
It's all pretty tasty. It's well prepared. Whoever cooked it knows their business. Randy?
Yeah, I'll tuck her into whatever's not meat.
Okay, whatever is not meat. That's the
Yeah.
pickles, the cheese, the biscuits and butter. The biscuits and butter.
Oh, the
those are
biscuits.
melt in your mouth.
biscuits.
Delightful, those biscuits.
Oh
right?
yeah, I'm
Like
getting
somebody
biscuits.
again
Yeah.
knows how to do light and flaky. And then there's that butter, and the butter's got like a flavor to it. It's maybe like kind of like a rosemary or something. Oh, it's good. And the pickles, you've got a little bit sweet and a little bit sour. It's kind of an interesting combination. How it manages to pull that trick off simultaneously is an interesting one. Eric, you're focusing on the skewers?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. And
Can I tell what kind of meat those are? If they're meat?
Kind of meat. It's meat. It's not, I can't believe it's not butter kind of a situation, or whatever those patties are that are like not really meat.
Impossible burgers.
Impossible
Yeah,
burgers.
there you go. I mean,
Well,
they're
there's
pretty
also
impossible, but-
field roast, and I do a lot of vegan cooking. Yeah.
Okay. So are you familiar at all with various types of like game meat?
Sure.
Why don't you roll a
But
20
like
sided
in
die
our
for me?
world, not necessarily in the realm. So
Yeah. Why don't you roll
like
a
I know
20
what
sided die for me?
venison tastes like. I know what shark tastes like, but
Why don't you roll a 20 sided die for me?
I
okay.
mean, to be fair, half the meat in the Forgotten Realms would be impossible burgers, like dragons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are very. I think
They wouldn't
are,
be impossible burgers, they'd be CR20 burgers.
I think they're
Yeah.
improbable burgers. Is really
Improbable,
yeah.
Yeah, like
Fair.
I feel
Fair.
like Amara is kind of getting little bits of everything, but definitely
Gotcha.
like
Just
loading up on the
a
vegetation.
tapas sort of a situation.
Yeah,
I rolled a 3.
A 3. Okay, so Mr. I know what venison tastes like knows that the mint sauce stuff is in fact venison. The other two things taste a little gamey. You're guessing small animals. Okay. And finally, Rhiannon.
Well, so if I don't keep a certain level of roughage, I will regret it. So I'll
I will regret it. Okay.
I'll have some of what Amara is having if she doesn't need it all, because I never want to be the like omnivore who edges out the vegetarians.
Okay, fair enough.
But I'll try some stuff, but I won't be like chowing down on just meat.
Okay. It won't take long for the chopped up vegetable plate to come your way. And the rarest of these vegetables are the tomatoes, which give you the indication that they're not native to these parts, or at least they weren't originally. But everything else is present in a reasonable amount of volume and has been washed and chopped so that you can consume it in sort of easy bites. And it's all pretty tasty. In fact, the food is excellent, as are the beverages, if you're willing to try those, including your highly watered, iced down wine, Rhiannon, which is very cold. But I mean, it's 90% ice, 10% wine. So, or mead.
Good.
I'm sorry, 10% mead, 90% ice. So,
Drink wise, I think Amara's sticking with wine. Definitely not a beer person.
fair enough. It's no ElverQuest, but it's not bad. Okay.
I will try the beers and see which one I like best.
The stout is definitely the best choice.
Okay.
So, does anyone have anything that they want to ask Anton about any of the food, or Arton about any of the food, or shall we just engage him in conversation if you'd like to do that? He's politely standing there now that he's brought the food out, with his hands behind his back, standing straight, as he is wont to do, almost as if he's waiting to see if you need something.
Eat with us. Please.
I would be happy to do so, but I've already dined for the evening. If you're worried about poisoning, I'm happy to take a bite. He'll reach in and grab a bit of the venison skewers and pop it into his mouth.
I was not worried about poisoning.
I'm not worried. And Amara taps her neck.
No, while we eat, tell us about the current clack. Tell us what is happening in the city.
Waterdeep? Well,
Yes.
we've just come off of Shield Meet, which was rather interesting, and bit of excitement near Castle Waterdeep with a courtier of the city being attacked in the streets by some sort of ne'er-do-wells who cleared the area with a fireball. Suspicion is on the Xanthalar being behind all of that. But fortunately, not too many innocents were harmed in that particular encounter. A group of adventurers, I think, got into it. Nasty business. Beyond that, the city has a bit of a hangover. Days following festival days, especially 2 in a row, especially one that only occurs once every 4 years or so, tend to be quieter days. And so the weather, warm as you would expect it to be at this time of the year, but mediated by the sea breezes as always, is tolerable, and has actually been rather good for the last few days. We, as is auspicious on days like this, got a midsummer and a shield meet with good weather. Was there something more specific you were interested in?
No. Simply trying to get the lay of the land, as it were. I look around.
Do you have anywhere in the city you'd recommend for procuring some new garments, that sort of thing? I know that a lot of us have had to...
He'll smile. It depends on one's budget, ma'am.
Fair enough.
There are a number of places I might recommend.
I mean, I think
Well, we are on a bit of a timeline.
we are on a bit of a timeline.
So it would have to be, we're looking for, is the term off the rack familiar to you?
I'm afraid
Garments,
not.
garments that wouldn't require a lot of tailoring.
Yes, pre-made garments as opposed to custom tailored.
That'd probably be.
No, go ahead, Rian.
Well, I was going to say, in this day and age, there was a second-hand trade with the idea that you take it home and like alter it yourself.
Yeah.
So rather than getting it new, that somebody makes it, tailors it for us, it might need to go secondhand.
So you'll say that, and he'll say, she speaks true. There are a number of places that specialize from simple workman's garb all the way through to the discards that the nobles give off at the end of every season. That can provide you with clothing that you can do that with yourself. There are also a number of Aurora's Whole Realms. Are you familiar with that term?
Heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
Shops hereabout that carry clothing for the adventurer. And so they have things that can be easily tailored or that fit most people. Is that what off the rack means?
Yes.
Yes, essentially.
More or less.
The only racks I'm aware of are the ones that carry hats and are used to torture people.
All right.
Have not met many tieflings then, eh?
In any
He will
case,
giggle when you say that.
I appreciate it. I know most of us have had, unfortunately, not had the opportunity to replace a lot of the belongings you had to discard along the way.
Such is always the case with adventurers, is it not, madam?
Indeed.
Well, I will do what I
Use
can
clothes.
to see to your needs tomorrow. The city is dusk, and so largely most places are closed. Although if you're willing to spend the coin, you can always find some place at all hours of the night, serve your need. We also could summon tailors here, but that would be reasonably pricey.
I don't think we're in that dire of a strait. We are on a time crunch, but I don't
Did
think...
Lady Silverhand set aside coin for us?
Indeed, she did. What kind of a host would she be if she didn't?
Indeed.
Well, that's fortunate then.
Okay.
I did okay. I got to come to your place more often.
Yeah, it's definitely... Definitely.
What did you have in mind, Elric? You've given your name, yes. So, what did you have in mind, Elric? What within that budget are you looking to spend?
I know some of my companions are very keen to update their wardrobe, and personalized tailors might be the fastest way to find what they are looking for.
I think he's doing math in his head like he's an accountant. that we could probably pay for something reasonably nice for each of you. But that would probably consume 3 out of 4 coins set aside for your immediate 10-day stay. You mentioned, Joel, you're on something of a timeline?
Yes, I believe we
We have
actually
a meeting to attend.
Yes, and we are not actually sure how long it will take to get there. So,
Well,
I see.
so given that the meeting is in, well, it was in 2 days' time when we scheduled it. I imagine it wouldn't take more than that to get there.
If it's within the city, certainly so. You could walk one end of the city or
So we
to
were
the other within a day.
definitely not.
We were
I see.
told, like, speaking out of character briefly, we were told that about there was some druids that we needed to get in touch with.
Shrine of Sylvanus on
Shrine
the
of
North Road,
Sylvanus.
about a mile away.
Okay. Yes, we need to. We have a meeting with someone at a Shrine of Sylvanus on the North Road.
Oh, I think I'm familiar with that shrine. Yes. That's not very far at all, really. Perhaps an hour's travel from here. On foot.
Yes. Yes.
You have to see a druid about a spaceship. You wouldn't understand.
Oh, he'll
Used to
he'll
dealing with
nod
adventurers.
politely.
He
as
might.
if- Adventurers
We
say
may-
the darndest things.
We made the arrangements last night, so I believe we should probably at least check the place out first.
Actually, Arton, the thing that I would be seeking is not a tailor. If there was perhaps an armorer who could make some adjustments.
Dozens
I-
here in the city.
Okay, perhaps any who make house calls. While we're
Certainly.
looking the tailors
Again,
in. Okay.
almost everyone is prepared to make house calls as long as you're willing to pay them for the privilege.
Okay.
So, tailors and an armorer. Anything else you'll be needing tomorrow morning?
I think
I
I'm
mean-
all right.
I don't need clothes, but I could use like a different like pack so that there's a like ferret like pocket in it.
I noticed you have
Alterations
what
to your pack.
I noticed you have what I presume is a familiar. If ferrets could laugh.
What a kind assumption.
I'm just gonna say this is Ferris.
Okay. Greetings, Ferris. Arton will say. Ferris will look over at Arton for a moment and incline his head as if to say, yes, yes.
and I'll also say, I won't draw his ire by telling him to behave, but you may count on his good behavior.
Excellent. I would expect so. So something to carry things in, easily enough achieved as well. Anyone else will be required?
I think I'm all right. I've got what I have already. I've got at least some. We were given some clothes when we were staying in the promenade.
I mean, if we
So,
don't need to update clothes, let's not bother. But
I'd like I'd like at least one
All
other
right.
thing to wear. So
The
So
tailors are
open
coming.
armor?
The tailors are coming, Eric.
All
How
right,
do you
good.
offend the tailors by not taking advantage of the fact that they're showing up?
all I'm
Okay.
saying is I have that shift, right, which is not
Mhm.
really good for many occasions, and I
Mhm.
have the clothes we got at Jamal's that I wear under the armor.
True.
I need
So-
something that I'm not wearing under the armor constantly.
yeah,
A few other things seem reasonable. Seem totally reasonable. All right, so I have a general sense of it. So if no one has anything else that they're calling
Yeah.
out, and no one wants to ask what the food is, then you'll
I'm
simply
content.
feed yourselves, be satisfied with the food and drink that has been provided to you. And as it is clear that you are sort of arriving at the, okay, we're done eating portion of the evening and done making small talk portion of the evening, he will say, have you given any thought to what bedrooms you intend to claim? There are functionally 4.
know that I would prefer some privacy.
There's a master
At the very
suite
least.
on the second floor. I do have that right. Yes, a master suite on the second floor. Let's just say yes. So there's a master suite on the second floor. It has a room alongside of it, which I can turn into the fourth bedroom. And then there are 2 additional bedrooms located on the third floor, one overlooking Trollskull Alley and the other one overlooking Saradoon Street.
I mean, wasn't there kind of like some kind of sofa or reading couch in the library?
I mean, if you're looking to rough it, sure.
Yeah, I can just crash on that.
Yeah.
I'm good.
I was actually thinking
from what
you
I'm
might,
seeing.
I was gonna say, actually, I might take the spot up in the attic where the where all the trunks from previous occupants are, and maybe do a little poking around. There might be something interesting in there.
You never know.
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
So,
Yeah.
Joel, you'll say, I'd like to be in the attic, just sort of, high ground or something.
Sure.
And again, adventurers say the darndest things. So he seems to roll with that no trouble. I was
We need
most-
some space for the twins and their caretaker, as well as, let's see, I suppose Gedrin can crash with me. And I want to make it clear that I am not a grown man saying I want to sleep with a small boy. That's not what's happening here.
I think we
It's
kind
clear,
of.
Eric. It is very clear.
Yeah, I think it was
Okay,
already
I
pretty
just-
clear. You've been acting as his father. Like.
All right, good,
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Okay.
So, would you like? You mentioned the we need a place for the twins and Zara. Would you like the extra bedroom that
Yeah.
serves as the suite room for the master suite on the second floor, made up for that purpose?
Sure. Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
fine to me.
That works.
And then, who would you like to be close to them? Is that something, Amara, that you would prefer, or perhaps Rian?
I'd say Eric
Just-
should be like next
Yeah,
to
it
him
could be
with
me. It's
Gedrin,
fine. Just
because then
have it be me.
if he leaves, she can watch Gedrin as well.
All
Also, looking at the cat, we shall require a box of sand. Thank you.
Sand.
Adventurers say the darndest things.
Darndest things. Fair enough. Making cots in the attic and boxes of sand, etc., etc. You get the impression that he was trying to offer the master suite to one of the ladies,
Mhm.
but you claimed it, Eric. So okay, it's now yours.
Well, I was going to
I-
take
I-
it, but then
no,
you were going to
I-
put the kids in the other adjoining
I thought
rooms
it was
that
for
I
the
was-
kids, not for me. I don't
The-
need it.
The kids are in the adjoining suite room.
Oh, I
To
see.
the master suite bedroom. And so he was like, okay, so there's this really big bedroom, and then there's these other 2 bedrooms.
I mean,
And
I'll
so-
happily defer. It's fine.
I mean,
I don't.
It's too late. It's too late now, Eric.
I am really
you'll just
tall. I
know.
do need a big bed. Okay.
It's
You know.
true. So you're there.
I just
so,
need a real bed.
Yeah.
so second floor is Eric. Okay. Eric, Zara, kids is second floor. Fourth floor is Joel. So that leaves the third floor, which, Randy, if you're really like, I don't need a bedroom, there is a very comfortable looking couch near that wardrobe in the big room on the second floor. So if you want to go there, you can. And that would leave 1 bedroom private apiece for the ladies on the third floor.
Yep, that works
Yeah.
for me.
I'm fine with
Okay.
that.
All right. Unless, because I was sort of expecting somebody would be like, oh no, we gotta, sleep with our swords in hand and all in the same room and somebody across the door. So we're not doing that? I'm just checking.
No.
Okay, good.
Although now that you mention it, no, it's fine.
And Elric
So
gets a
you'll say-
buttery roll thrown at his head.
So you'll say that, Rhiannon. And your boon companion will say, always practical.
See, I'm clever. I don't think I have a door on my room, and we know now that killers knock before they enter. So
If we've learned anything.
I think that means that I'm safe. So
Okay. So you'll finish
Logical.
dinner. They'll make up those rooms appropriately, and you will be escorted up to them. If you would like the doors to lock, they can, and you'll be given keys. If you don't care about that, there's no need to give you keys.
I
What's
will
your
take the
preference?
key.
Okay. Everyone want a key?
Yes.
Okay. Only one who doesn't get a key is Randy, because as we know, murder is knocking, so you'll be fine. And that room, while it can lock, isn't meant to lock as a bedroom. Okay?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so you're all by yourselves collectively before you're about to be all by yourselves split up. Anything you have to say before you're all off on your own? It's nighttime, but none of you is tired because
Yeah,
you
we
just
already
woke
slept.
up. So now you've got jet lag, Forgotten Realms jet lag, because you're at a 12-hour time difference from damn it, it's morning to why is it nighttime? So it's going to be
All
a
right.
long night.
Best way to deal with jet lag like this is to stay up until you're supposed to go to sleep and then sleep, in my experience.
That has been my experience as well, Eric.
I'm just throwing
Counter-argument.
that out there for everyone to consider. So we should stay up for the next 20 hours.
Assuming that within that 20 hours, we're not going up into space and potentially fighting and everything.
You're
Yeah,
right.
like steal a book. Well, not steal. Borrow a book from the library or whatever, and just like chill.
Does anyone want to go on patrol?
No.
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 Fair enough.
I might
Gedrin,
go.
I have things to teach Gedrin about how to litter train a cat and use a sword and stuff. So we're fine.
So, like, if I was
mean-
going to get, like, Rick Steves' Guide to Waterdeep, and it was
You mean
like,
Volo's Guide to Waterdeep?
and it was, these are the coolest places you got to, like, get a picture of or visit and stuff like that. Like, are there any of those, like, within, like, easy walking distance of Trollkeep Manor? Like,
Are you going to ask that question to Arton?
sure, yeah.
Okay. He will say, as it turns out, although it's a little bit out of date, I do actually have a Volo's Guide to Waterdeep. If you're interested, that will tell you where most of the sites are located.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'd love it. Thank you.
Very well. I'll see to it that it is brought to your room.
I
Cool.
have a question.
Yes.
Waterdeep nightlife. What's a fun place to visit?
Oh, so many places could be described as fun. What sort of fun are you looking for?
I mean, at this point, I'm kind of up for anything. I'm not even remotely tired.
Are you looking to get into a fight? Are you looking to gamble? Are you looking to rub shoulders with dangerous individuals? Are you looking to seek out pleasure in the night?
All of those are good options.
That will actually elicit a little bit of a chuckle. Adventurers may say the darndest things, but sometimes they're actually pretty funny. This will be a DM thing. So if you go out on a side adventure, that's going to be a bit tricky to do. So
I'm
you
not
might
expecting
wanna...
to have
Okay.
it be like a
Okay.
thing.
Yeah.
I just was
Okay.
I was just explaining what Amara is doing for the next while. Kind of.
Okay. Traveling. So if you're going to go out of this place, I recommend that you don't go by yourself. That's what Arton will say. If you're going to leave the manor, I recommend you don't go out by yourself. Northward is safe at night, more or less, but there are always unsavory types about a city of this size. And it is, as I mentioned, very shortly after a festival day, so there are probably near on 1 million beings within a fairly short distance of us.
Fair enough.
Waterdeep is a very big city.
It is.
Well, as far as like people going out, Joel, weren't we gonna like finish our trade?
Yes, that was.
So Joel should stay, hopefully, maybe.
Yes, I'm actually still pretty beat up, half hit points. So I was not planning on going out. So yes, let's find a space to finish that up.
I think
Okay.
do better on my own as far as. Well, I tend to be able to get around unnoticed.
As you wish. I am not your babysitter. So, Joel, Rhiannon, going someplace quiet to engage in a power transaction.
Mhm.
Eric, spending some quality time with Gedrin. Randy, what are you up to?
I mean, I was gonna go sightsee. I mean, I'm in the freaking Forgotten Realms.
Yeah.
You know.
So is that a Randy and Allie side adventure?
Yes.
Fanfic opportunity.
I don't want to, like, you know, if you need your freedom and want to, like, go do your thing, Allie.
I just kind of want to check the. I don't want to hold you up either. You know, I want to go and check stuff out, but I don't like. I want to just kind of. Words are failing right now, but
Words! Give me words!
Have like a Ted Lasso coach in the city adventure, kind of like just you just want to go out and see what happens and follow your
check out some of these nightlife spots. Relax.
And I kind of want to just, like, you know, I want to be like I am me in the Forgotten Realms, in a city full of elves and dwarves and gnomes and who knows what, and magic and dragons and cool stuff, and like
if you see dragons, run.
Well, yeah, but you know, I want to see some stuff, man. I can like sit in a library anytime. Like,
Got
I
it.
want to go. I want to see some
Again,
cool stuff.
What I'm going to do with this is I'm gonna find a way to make that all fit with what our plan is. And
yeah, I don't want to like take a bunch of time just for me doing something.
Hey, I'm happy to do at some point in time a lost episode with the hijinks of the two of you out traveling night on the streets of the city, because that's the kind of fun I like as a DM.
It sounds pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, it does, right? But I can also give you sort of like some highlights and roll some dice just to see how bad it is.
Sure.
Dice, that's their job. It's our job to tell us things like that.
I'm down for that. Okay.
So again, the thing I need to know is this 2 solo adventures or one or 2 buddies out kind of, you know, exploring the neighborhood by them or together. 1 roll or 2.
I feel like
I think
Allie wants to hit the rave club and I want to hit the tourist spots. So I'm not sure if it's this. I mean, and they might end up like crisscrossing and end up being the same adventure, but I'm not sure that we have the same sort of.
Yeah, I think we want to do very different things going out.
Yeah.
So I think two separate things would be better.
Okay. So that's 2 rolls. So
at least initially 2 separate things.
So I'm gonna sort of handle that this way, right? I'm gonna deal with the internal scene stuff first. I've got a power transfer I've got to contend with, and then I'll come back to the 2 of you, and we'll figure out our way to handle this. So I've got a plan in mind. All right. So, however, for now, Joel and Rhiannon. So what's this we're up to exactly?
So last time Joel gave me one of his, so there's gems and there's
Stars.
It was all in my notes and I'm on different computers, so
gotcha. I can help you with that bit, sure.
Yeah. And then I was gonna give back a gem because I thought it wasn't fair that I was just taking all his stars.
I'm remembering correctly, gems wise, and now we're talking about what's on the gauntlet, right? You've used a grand total of 0 of those.
Yeah.
And you took all but 1 or all, I forget, Joel, of the.
She left. I have 1 star left.
Okay, so you have 1 star left, meaning on the trident.
Yes.
Okay. That's what I thought. I thought it was like you had 1 left. There was this moment where we could have got them all, but like the brakes were applied at the last instant. Yeah. Okay. And so.
So the idea is that we're trying again, or at least like that's my idea. that like I feel like it's only fair I give over a gem in trade. So now that
Okay.
like we've
So
regathered. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. And Joel, your intention is receive single gem, correct?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so Rhiannon, please roll a 20-sided die. Joel, please roll a 20-sided die. I assume you'll hold hands for this and a quiet place.
Yep. Well, I mean, I like me some attic poking around, so if we want to go up to the attic.
I mean, I do like me some attic poking around. All right, so we're exploring the attic together. That's gonna more dice are gonna happen because of that. Not because the attic is dangerous, but really kind of like what do we find in the attic?
There's
Oh, okay.
19.
I
That's
mean,
a 4.
So 19-4. That was remarkably smooth. Exactly what you wanted to happen happened with no muss, no fuss. That was a markedly different experience from the last go round.
no muss, no fuss, no mimics.
That was
We haven't
okay.
rolled for the attic yet. That wasn't about the attic.
Oh, I see. Don't
That
roll
was
a natural 20.
That was just, can I give one of those gauntlet gems from one person to another? Answer,
Right.
super easy. Barely an
Super
inconvenience. Okay.
Good to
Well,
know.
Joel, did you want to like
Well,
piggyback after that and do something
I was actually kind of hoping, while the transfer was open, you had mentioned last time that the last star wanted to flow to Rhiannon. Does that
It sure did. It sure did.
is that happening again this time?
No, almost as if they're
Hmm.
on a separate channel. It's like you have
Oh,
to
interesting.
intend for one to go someplace. And when you open one pipe, it's like hot and cold water, right? When you open one pipe, you've got the other one closed.
Okay.
Hot and cold running power.
So did you want to do
All right. So
something after?
all right. So since I'm up a gem now, actually, hang on, I don't want to say this out loud. So we are now
Oh, Chris, because we're touching.
telepathically communicating. I'm
I
going to say
assume, unless you tell me otherwise these
Right.
days.
so
that you're all
I'm gonna say
doing
that
it that way.
my voice has, K. Loomis has not shown any interest in using the stars. So, well, yours obviously has made some pretty impressive use of them. Why don't I go ahead and just pass you the last star now that I've got multiple gems stored up? Why don't I leave it up to you?
Rhiannon, please roll a 20-sided die.
Oh, okay. Well, my voice can't comment, but
I know. This
Well,
isn't
if
about
it does, that tells us something.
This isn't about that.
that's a 7.
Okay. It seems like, maybe a bad idea, but, you find that just hearing it sounds really tempting.
I mean, I know what the voice would say. So,
that didn't come from the voice.
oh yeah, I know. So still talking through the bond to Joel. So I want to, but I mistrust that because it seems like it's giving more power to the power in my life that I don't want to be more powerful. So,
Well, but you have maintained control over the power so far, right? Like, it has never activated your mark without. It has made suggestions, but it has never given any indication that it could overwhelm your will, has it? It seems like we all have very different. But we all have different relationships with our voices. I'm just making sure that I understand what's going on with yours.
yeah, I mean, I need to activate it, but then I don't know what it's going to do when it activates. But I mean, I want to say let's do it.
Okay. let's,
rather than like gaming it out, chess moves, 12
Yes.
deep or whatever.
Bishop to rook 4.
okay.
Yeah.
Then let's. I mean, Eric has been fully drained of. Well, he drained everything. Full stop.
Well, then we put something back on me so that I have
Right.
to.
He has a
Right,
gem.
but you were
Have
drained for a
agent.
while, so it's not like fully draining it. He's going to kill me or send me home or anything. I mean, if that was in the cards,
If
it would
only
have
it were
happened to
that
Eric.
simple.
It'll lock you out of the mind communication.
Well, but I'll still have gems left. So
Yeah, so he should
which
still
is
be
what-
in the.
right. So
right.
if you're
I mean,
okay
the
with
only
it,
thing is
let's-
once the star comes to me, we ain't never getting it back. That's the only thing.
Yeah. No,
Okay,
all right.
let's do it then.
So okay.
Okay. So anything special about how you want to prepare for this? Or-
We're definitely both sitting down for this, or I am sitting
Yeah.
down for this since it
Yep.
Okay.
put me on my ass last time. So
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Sort of like kind of Indian style with your hands
yeah,
in each other.
yeah,
Okay.
facing each other. Visualize the
Up in the attic with the moonlight things and
glowing-
motes of above. Yeah.
glowing light on the chest. Kind of elevate the mode of light coming out of the star, and then flowing down my arm and over to where Rhiannon's mark is.
All right. Rhiannon,
Hmm.
I don't know you well enough to know how many times in your life you've done something that you want to do, but really know you shouldn't. And there's a little thrill one gets when one does things like that. It's a nervous thrill because you really shouldn't be doing this, but you know that it's going to be fun anyway. And so you'll notice that your heart rate will go up. Your blood pressure's probably up too. You'll even notice that you're starting to trickle sort of like a little nervous sweat, but it's exciting. You good?
I mean, you are talking to somebody who went on her first roller coaster 5 years ago or so. So in my 30s, and swore them off forever after because it was not my thing.
Okey-dokey.
So,
All right.
Uh,
Well,
I mean, but we're doing it now. So
we're
So?
doing it now. Okay. So you'll feel the power start to stream out of you, Joel. And it comes as sort of like, okay, it's starting to go. And Rhiannon, you'll feel the power start to rush into you. This'll top you off. Yes? Okay.
well, no, I was down to 1, and then I got a second one from Joel, so that this will put me to 3, won't it?
I thought you got 2 from
I
Joel.
passed over 2 to you.
So
Oh,
we'll top
okay.
you off.
And-
It'll
and
get you
this
to
is-
4 of 5.
Okay.
And I should be down to 0.
And you'll, again, provided this goes the way
Right. Provided this works.
Yes. Okay. So, like I said, you'll feel that power start to trickle into you, and it's like a surge of pure joy. And you want to pull it. You want to pull it out of Joel. Do you want to fight that tendency, or do you want to? This is what this is supposed to do. I mean, I kind of remember it being like this last time. I mean, he's only got 1. What else could I take?
Nope. We're gonna go slow on this.
Please roll twice on a die.
Okay. Thing running around. That's a 17.
Ooh, slow, you say. Okay. So you're doing your best. You really are doing your best to go slow. But at some point, it's so hot in the desert and the water is just so tasty that you can't help yourself but grab hold and pull, right?
Mhm.
And so you'll feel that rush into you, and you'll get a slam of power and tingling energy that will send a bolt of pleasure right up your spine. And now you're sweating, like you can feel it through the back of your shirt. And like you've just been working in the yard cutting a tree down. What was I going to say? Joel, you'll feel a rush of energy go out of you, almost like your breath was drawn out, like it sucked it out, a breath that you had taken in out of you as that energy rushes out of your person, and you'll feel lightheaded. Rhiannon, what color are your eyes?
Blue or gray, depending. In some
Yeah.
photography, they look quite blue, but gray in other lights.
Joel, they're not blue anymore, they're green. She had not quite red hair. She has red hair now. She had blue-gray eyes. Her eyes are a very bright shade of green. She doesn't know that because she can't see them.
And that might, honestly, I'm not sure I don't notice eye color very often. That's probably something I might think like, that's
that was probably
possibly a trick of the light. I don't
must
know.
just be bright because XYZ.
Right.
So I guess it'll be tomorrow morning when Rhiannon makes a point to look at a mirror.
So when you say her hair is now red, is it like?
Oh, it was red last time when you last did it. It went from like auburn to carrot top.
Okay.
And again, the eyes are now green.
Is it like full on fruit punch Kool-Aid red now, or
no change to the hair color?
Change this time. Okay.
Same as it was before.
All right, and I check my mark. Is it?
Yeah, you're running on empty, Jackson Brown.
Okay.
You've got 2 gems, which was the plan from before, and 0 of the bits of power from the mark on the trident portion of it. So success! You achieved what you were looking to achieve. Okay, so
maybe I can update the art myself.
Getting there.
Sorry about that.
Literally just got the art updated with the red hair.
I didn't know this was gonna happen. Okay. Anyway, go ahead.
It's fine. It's just laughing.
Real quick. Hey, K. Loomis, can I still talk to you?
Indeed, you can.
Just checking.
All right.
Oh, and we should check through our bond as well. Like,
oh yeah,
are we able to?
How are you?
No problems at all there.
Okay.
That tells you that is that type of the power is probably dependent either on the Helmy bits or the Aminoctor bits, and not so much the other. That's, for what it's worth, that's probably what you're learning from that.
All right.
So that's a thing. Joel, you find you're actually tired now. Hey, that's kind of convenient. Cool way to cure jet lag.
Okay.
Okay. So that's you. And Rhiannon, you're sweaty.
Yeah, go find a bath.
Okay. So as it turns out, your room has one, and all you need to do is ask, and they'll draw one for you. So you can do that. You'll discover that that's kind of exhausting. Like, taking that power in is exhilarating at first and dizzying, but once you're settled into the nice, warm, soapy bath, like, you'll start to get sleepy. So, okay, I guess if you guys need to get to bed, it's a way to approach that problem.
Yep.
Why don't we roll some percentile dice? See if there's a mirror in that bathroom. Well, how about that? Yeah, that's a song too, Mirror in the Bathroom. So, okay, Rhiannon.
Mm-hmm. I'm rolling.
You'll catch a glimpse of you. What the? Okay. You got something for that?
So let's see. I'm like, okay, who's left that I can go and? Well, actually, I assume Pharaoh is around. Like, I would shut him out of the bathroom, but when I'm
he's probably indignant about that too. But still, there are things. There are things to explore in the room that you're in.
If he's smart enough to understand what I'm saying, he's smart enough not to get to peek. So
he was watching what you were doing upstairs, but made a point of not remaining in physical contact with you when that was going on.
Okay.
For what that's worth. I sort of neglected to mention what he would be up to, right?
Sure.
And he'll, ride on your shoulder and sort of keep an eye on you in the sense of like, does she look okay? But you won't deduce that there's a change to your eye color till you spot it yourself. And so that puts him in the next room when you notice it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go out and be like, excuse me, have my
You're
eyes...
saying that to him?
Yeah, to Pharaoh.
Okay. Excuse me. Okay. He was licking his back left leg or something. He'll look up. Yeah.
Have my eyes changed color? I don't know if ferrets have color vision. Do they
He'll
look
come-
different to you?
Scrambling up to you, and he'll kind of get close to you. So now he's sitting on your shoulder, and his head's, because they're quite flexible, over in your space, and his eyes will narrow a little bit, and he will.
Shoot.
He'll
Do I
he'll
recognize
he'll
this
give
color?
an expression like that implies that he does not approve.
Yeah, well, me either. Do I recognize this shade of green from, say, when I was throwing magical flames around?
Funny
they
you
were
mentioned
green.
that. You know what? I'm not even going to make you roll for that one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh shit. I knew I shouldn't do it.
Right?
But
Chuckle.
it seemed like I spent so much time like trying to like be holding back from stupid shit, and then sometimes it's like, okay, whatever, just I give in.
It's fine.
So-
There are spells that'll allow you to change your eye color. No problem.
That's not the point here.
Not the point.
I know, but I'm trying to help. Anyway,
he's silver lining the situation. He's doing his best.
Okay,
I'm
so
trying to band-aid the situation, okay?
one more question for Pharaoh.
By the by, after he expresses his disapproval, he'll take one of his paws, his right paw, so maybe he's right-handed, it's hard to tell, and he'll start gently stroking your cheek as if to calm you.
Well, my next question actually was going to be like, if I turn evil, does that mean like you'll not want to have me as your familiar, be my familiar?
Is that said with a sort of like heartbreaking tone of like, if I turn evil, what does that mean? Or are we saying that with something? If I turn evil,
it's more of a like, I'm making a joke. I don't mean this at all.
You're not gonna, right? We're not gonna familiar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You are where having this conversation? Bedroom?
Bedroom. Yeah.
Okay. He will cock a glance at you, hop down off your shoulder, skitter across the floor, and climb up onto what looks like a vanity table, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's got its own mirror, so you could go over there and sort of prepare yourself for going out or whatever the case may be. So sort of silvered material. And a number of things around that are probably types of makeup or whatever, right? Okay. And so he will knock aside things until he finds something, one of the jars that he's that's filled with something that he could scrawl with, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So pigment, we'll call it, maybe like some sort of a red that's supposed to go on your lips or something like that. And he'll knock that jar open and he will begin to draw something in this pigment on the mirror itself. It is a symbol. You saw it once before on a medallion that Laryl was wearing. And it's a set of eyes, sort of stylized eyes, and 7 stars.
Oh.
Roll a 27.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, it doesn't mean anything to me, but
You're blessed by
Except
Suzu and the Banshees.
That doesn't mean anything to me.
well, I mean, 7 sisters, isn't it? That's
There
a
are
5.
7 sisters. That is correct. Okay, so you think this is probably holy, like some kind of like a holy symbol of some kind or another that's meant to represent a deity. You're just not 100% sure which one. Why would Laryl be wearing that? Who does Laryl worship?
Wasn't it Mistra?
Yes,
Yes,
Mistra, goddess of magic.
Goddess of magic, yes. Mistra, goddess of magic. That's correct. So he'll scrawl that on the mirror, and then just sort of sit there and nod at you.
And I'll say, Mistra?
And he will like you're, he's dealing with a 4-year-old.
Well, okay. That makes me feel a little better.
Okie doke. There you go. That was the design. How about that? Mission accomplished. Okay. So you'll return to your bath, finish up, get yourself ready for bedtime. Is that pretty much the deal?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. As promised, it's time for the street adventure.
Oh boy.
All right, you rascals. So here's the deal. The thing you're going to do is go out onto the street, right? Like that's a thing that one way or another, regardless of where you're headed, out onto the street at night is your plan. Do you want to just walk around because, hey, that would be kind of cool? Or do you want like a conveyance of some kind or another that you want to ask your kind hosts to provide? So is it on foot or something else?
Amara's definitely going on foot. She kind of wants to get that like foot
Cobbles
travel
under my
experience.
feet.
And I know that like for me, that's the best way to get to know like a city and how to get around is by going on foot. Because I know for me, like when I travel places in cars, I have trouble kind of connecting the dots in my head. But if I'm walking,
all right, Randy.
I do want to walk around, but I want to walk around someplace interesting. And as I understand it, where we're at is kind of just a quiet neighborhood sort of a thing. I'd probably want to coach to
it's a neighborhood for sure, Randy, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't have interesting things in it. If you're looking for like a site, like take me to the Empire State, then that's a different animal. Okay.
Yeah. That's what I want. I want to like, take me to whatever, like, the castle or the a wizard's tower. I want to see something cool. And then I wander around that area.
Arton will be able to tell you if you're looking for something to see, particularly at this time of night, particularly given the recent festivities. Castle Waterdeep wouldn't be a bad choice. And the area around Castle Waterdeep is fairly safe. So I'd recommend that. If you'd like, I can get you a cart that will take you to that location.
Yeah, that sounds good. And there's probably like revelers and stuff, and people walking around drunk down the street.
There probably
all
are.
That kind of stuff. Yeah, that'll be fun.
All right. So, Allie, you're out the door first.
Yes. I did want to briefly point out, I thought the eyes with the stars was Seluna, not Mistra. Mistra's mist with stars.
Okay.
Just aside.
You do you. I hear you.
Okay.
Moving
on.
So, where were we? So you hit the street. My first question for you is, are you like cloaking and hooding up so people can't really tell who you are except mysterious stranger moving through the night? Or are you hot girl out for a stroll? Which of the two things is it?
The second one.
Hot girl out for a stroll. You realize that affects the numbers I'm rolling, right?
Yeah, I realize that. But that would not have hooking up would not have really entered my mind. I just would have been like, all right, I'm out.
You were talking about slipping from shadow to shadow and blah blah blah.
I was gonna say it's night too. She can shadow dance. I can't. So like,
Well. Okay. So, is it safe to say the local neighborhood's the place to start? Like, wander the immediate zone around this place to get somewhat familiar with it before you just sort of strike out in a random direction and go for 6 blocks.
Yeah, I want to get a little familiar just so I can kind of like find my way back. Just kind of get the lay of the area before I kind of wander away.
And are you looking for a place that's like open and looks like something fun might be going on inside?
I think so, yeah. I'm not looking to like break into anything or do anything like super illicit, but yeah.
Super illicit. I'll go with like 46% illicit. I don't need to go above 46%. Maybe 46.5% illicit. Okay. All right. So you're out on the street. You're wandering the neighborhood. All right. I'm going to do like a little read of Waterdeep. I call this one Waterdeep from your windows, because I assumed that that's probably how you would all see the city to start with. And I'm going to give that for both you and Randy. And for tomorrow, when people are looking out the window, I don't have to read it again. So no big deal, right? And then I'll give you a little bit about the lay of the land in the neighborhood, that you're in, which is a combination of Serdun Street and Trollskull Alley. Serdun Street on the northern part, Trollskull Alley on the southern part, from this building. So, Randy, I'm going to give you that same Waterdeep from your window because you're in North Ward and on your way to Castle Ward, and you're going to take main roads to get there because you're a cart carriage, but it's really a two-person maximum carriage that's going to take you there. So that's sort of like safe spots that you're going to be traveling along most of the way. I think you're taking the way of the dragon, but off the top of my head, could be Dolphin Street. I forget what takes you down from North Ward to Castle Waterdeep. But I'll read you that thing itself, and then we'll deal with what's down there a little bit. And again, I'm cliff notesing the two of you so that we don't end up in a 2-hour-long adventure here at this point.
And I apologize. I have a hard stop here at noon.
So how long is that from me?
That's like
4
5
minutes.
4 minutes.
So
Okay.
so it might be good to like do Allie's and then maybe save mine for like the next
Another,
or a side
we'll do like a side thing. Okay, fair enough. Suffice it to say, you don't die, so you will make it back. So
Just a single die roll.
Just next episode. Just next episode. I wonder where Randy went.
You know,
That's the most reassuring thing Chris has said in this entire game.
right? I mean, I could have thrown a yet in there, but whatever. Okay.
Cart safety rules were pretty lax in Waterdeep at the time.
Yes,
So it's
that's
it's good to know that
totally the case. Yes.
it didn't
Okay.
explode spontaneously.
Yeah, no one needs that. Okay. All right. So, back to Waterdeep from your windows. So, from the windows of Trollskull Manor, or strolling the streets, you can see that the streets are lined with well-maintained buildings. I selected this behind me deliberately because it's kind of like Tudor European style, and the way the streets are on different altitudes and that sort of thing are very Waterdeep. That's very much what you would expect to find in Waterdeep. Lined with well-maintained buildings, the streets, most of them constructed of sturdy stone, with slate roofs that gleam slightly under the moonlight. The architecture is a mix of old and new, with some buildings sporting ivory-covered walls and others showing off newly painted shutters in shades generally of deep green or royal blue. The buildings are generally 3 to 4 stories tall, with narrowed, cobbled streets weaving between them. Ornate iron street lamps stand sentinel at every corner, lit throughout the night. In the distance, you can see the spires of various temples and guild halls rising above the 3 to 4 story rooftop, their banners fluttering gently in the breeze off of the ocean, which is omnipresent in these parts. You can see the Mount Waterdeep, which is basically a gigantic mountain that dominates one side of the skyline, looming to the west. And as you're moving about, you'll get the occasional glimpse of these giant stone statues, armed and armored, at the edges of the city. The air of the city is filled with the constant murmur of city life, even at this hour of the night. The distant clatter of horse-drawn carriages on cobblestones mixes with the calls of street vendors peddling their wares, laughter and conversation drifting up, interspersed with the occasional bark of a dog, or a bit of music from a bard's lute. Somewhere nearby, the rhythmic hammering of a blacksmith echoes through the alleyways, a steady reminder of the city's industrious spirit. The scent of sea air dominates here, carried on the breeze from the nearby Sea of Swords, bringing it with it that salty tang of like a combination of like brine and seaweed, right? That mingles with more earthy aromas of the city, freshly baked bread from a nearby bakery, the sharp tang of wood smoke and from hearth fires in the buildings all around, and the fragrant notes of blooming summer flowers from well-tended window boxes and small gardens all throughout the ward. From the Manor's vantage point, and as you're walking its streets, Trollskull Alley itself, which is back door, is a quieter, more intimate scene compared to the busier main streets. The alley is shaded by the tall buildings on either side, with plenty of patches of shadow. The smells are a little bit different here. More personal, maybe? Sense of leather from a nearby leatherworking shop, warm, comforting aroma of spices from some shop here throughout, and the occasional waft of something more exotic, hinting at the varied and diverse group of people that call this section of the North Ward home. And on that note, we will
Smoke bomb.
have Randy go.
Sorry for the
Okay.
weird cut. We're back.
We had to deal with a person going off towards the castle Waterdeep.
Randonius threw a smoke bomb, you know?
Yep, it happens.
What can you say?
So the neighborhood, which was what we were talking about first, Alley, around Trollskull Alley, right? And
Yes.
I'll actually put up a map of the area in the Discord, which you could probably show for everybody at home when we do the edit.
Yeah.
Is Trollskull Alley is kind of between two main streets, right? Serdun on the north and Delzorin on the south. And there's all sorts of buildings that are sort of backed up inside the alley itself. It's like a self-contained neighborhood. And so that's kind of what you're going to start out with. And there are a number of residential places within that neighborhood, but there are also a number of businesses, at least one of which is open at this hour of the night. And so that's probably where you're likely to land once you've sort of walked around the place. And the things to know, right, about this lively neighborhood is that the places that are sort of closest to where you are the Bent Nail, which has an intricate wooden sign depicting exactly that, a bent nail, which looks like it's crafted. It's got in the windows furniture, weapons and armor. That's an odd combination of goods. But whoever's shop this is, which is open during the daytime, closed at night, they're craftsmen. There's also this place called the Steam and Steel. You heard blacksmithing? That's where the blacksmithing is coming from. Anvils, the hiss of steam, even active this late into the night. And the place is like very well defended. It looks like the door is iron bound, the windows are barred and shuttered, and you wouldn't be surprised if there's some metal reinforcing going on inside that place. Next is the Healing Leaf. It's a shop. This is the source of that spicy, herby smell. It looks like it's probably spices, herbs, potions, and the like, and it's got like a greenhouse as part of its design. Next is the Dusty Tome, which looks like it's a bookshop. It was just on, I want to say Netflix for season 2, Devils and Angels.
Good Omens?
There you are. Thank you very much. Think Azrael's bookshop and Good Omens to get a sense of what this place is like. Although again, closed tightly against the night. Another spot, the Arcane Quill, looks like probably more a place that one would go for magical supplies and scrolls and the like. And it is also tightly warded, probably literally and figuratively, against intrusion at this hour of the night. And then the place that you're probably going to end up at for some time is called the Silvered Harp, which is a vibrant music store and performance venue. So it's open well into the night, and there are people inside performing. And so if you wander in there, you'll discover that it is filled with people that are, think of it as sort of like an open mic night, right? Different performers, different bards, and a wide eclectic group of races. You'll draw people's eye as you're walking down the street, because that's what you do. There are a lot of members of the Guard and the Watch. So Guard, dressed like soldiers. Watch, dressed like light soldiers. Watch tends to carry weapons that are designed to kill you and also subdue you. Guard tends to carry weapons that are designed to kill you because you're obviously trouble. Watch has a clear wizard in attendance. The Guard typically just looks like it's groups of soldiers, and they're traveling in groups of between 4 and a dozen, depending. The Watch usually has patrols of 4 to 6. The Guard tends to be in larger numbers, and this is a wealthy part of town, and so you're at this hour of the night, and it's not super late. They're near abouts, so you get the impression that it's a reasonably safe place. Of the places that we talked about, is it reasonable for me to assume that the place that you would probably end up settling is the Silvered Harp?
Possibly, though. Open mic night wasn't quite what I envisioned as far as getting, going out on a little, solo venture.
So what more are you looking for? Because then you're probably out beyond the immediate environs of this. I think
she'd be looking for a place like the gambling sounded interesting. Get maybe somewhere to get a drink. That kind of fun. Like,
drinking is certainly going on at the Silvered Harp.
Okay.
Gambling is probably just personal if people are gambling individually. If you're literally looking for gambling and drinking, the place to find that is the Towers of Luck. That's Timora's temple here in the city.
Okay.
Get a tax exemption for being a temple. It's a whole thing in Waterdeep politics.
Fair.
But I mean, if you're looking for just a place that looks like a tavern that's hopping, there's probably one out beyond an additional block.
I think, you know what? I think I'm going to range out further. Because all of that sounds a little tame, and I'm feeling cooped up.
Atta girl.
So, how far are you going to range exactly? Are you looking to go outside of Northward? Are you looking to head towards the City of the Dead, which borders Northward? Northward, Seaward, Castle Ward.
I'm definitely leaving Northward. But,
okay. So Seaward, Castle Ward, or the City of the Dead. Those are the first places one goes, unless you're leaving the city altogether.
I'm not leaving the city altogether. I'm not looking to range out that far. But that's a good because I'm trying to remember much about the wards themselves, and I cannot remember much specifically about them. I feel like the City of the Dead probably not the best area to head to.
It depends on whether you're looking to hang out with undead creatures.
No.
No,
so not there.
I'm not.
I will remind you that vampires are undead creatures.
Yes, I'm aware.
Okay.
I'm aware. We've been over this.
And the energy drain in this edition.
I'm not looking to
That's
become
right.
either. I'm not looking to become dead or a vampire spawn. So let's move on.
Okay, cool. No City of the Dead for you.
No. Which one would be kind of the most logical direction to head? Because I'm just kind of wandering at this point.
If you're looking for danger, Waterdeep runs north to south in terms of danger. The safest parts of the city are the furthest north. The least safe parts of the city are the furthest south.
So we go south.
So towards Castle Ward. Oh. So this might just end up being something of a Randy and Allie adventure after all. Okay, so you're going to head in the direction of Castle Ward, and if you head in the direction of Castle Ward, pretty much by default, you're going to find yourself near Castle Waterdeep because it's just really cool, dude. Think of the like castle for Disney, right? At Disney World. I forget what the name of that castle is, but think of that like 3 times its size and for real. It is magnificent. It's gorgeous. Nothing in Westgate compares to it in terms of how beautiful it is, how big it is, and how sort of like it. To gaze upon it is something one should endeavor to do, right? And so you will probably end up in that part of town. Roll percentile dice for me, would you?
All right. Let's roll that. Dropped one of my fancy dice. There we go. 64.
64. All right. I rolled percentile dice. While you will draw attention on your way, and you will even think for a little while that you had a tail, a couple of people fell in behind you about a block back, and you just decided to shake them and successfully did so. That could have been trouble had you not shook them, but you did, so no need to worry about that. Your trip from where you were staying to where you were going was reasonably uneventful. You'll note that the moon is full or almost full. It's probably going away from full because it was a full moon a couple of days ago. And so now it's going away from full, but it's in the sky, it's pretty big, and you kind of notice it a lot. Like it's hard to miss lurking above the city. And you get this impression that there's someone watching out for you, right? From the sort of shafts of moonlight. And you know that Elistray, among other things, has an affinity for the moon. And this is the first time in a while, because you've been underground for a bit, where you've seen it in the sky. And so there's this sense, this feeling that perhaps there's a little bit of a connection there. And maybe that's what helped keep you out of some of the trouble that you might have otherwise encountered with me rolling percentile dice every single block you walked on your way south from the city. So, okay. The 64 was on your way to Castle Ward as you're wandering around the castle area, and you'll see all kinds of fascinating people and things that could easily fill a 3-hour episode all on its own. Hint, hint. And one of the things that you'll encounter, you'll walk right by it before you notice that you've walked right by it, is a sign for a tavern that says The Yawning Portal.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes. I'm going to go to the Yawning Portal.
All right, so that's
Sure, yeah.
turn and enter the Yawning Portal.
Yes.
Did you roll percentile dice for me again?
49.
49. Okay, so the common room of the Yawning Portal, even on a quiet day, and this is, as Arton described, a couple days after a festival day, and so more quiet than you would normally expect, is still a pretty raucous place, filled with people, mostly adventurers, but there's a share of merchants who've just come to gawk at the adventurers and guards off duty, right? Or former soldiers, maybe, that just sort of like are in the place. You'll spot a man behind that's Durnan! That's Durnan the Wanderer! Standing behind that bar. Well, damn. Behind the bar, you'll see, dominating the center of the room, the well, which is 40-foot diameter and has a, like, giant bucket you can fit people inside of, and block and tackle that's designed to lower people into the depths of Undermountain. There's this constant sort of like breeze, by the way, that sort of emanates from the depths of Undermountain that causes the candles closest on the tables and the chandeliers above to flicker ever so slightly. You will see that there is a gnome with a, I guess, chalkboard. Well, it's not really what that is, but it is, I guess, what that is, right? With names scribbled on it, who's clearly engaged in some sort of commerce. There's people betting on some sort of result, right? Right near to the entry to the dungeon itself. And also seated at a table is a female cleric wearing red robes, openly displaying a symbol of the goddess of luck, Timora. And clearly she's engaged in commerce, ready to heal people that might emerge from the dungeon injured. So there are adventuring companies.
It's a good racket.
Right? It is. There are adventuring companies gearing up to go in, a couple of them, and people just enjoying themselves all around the bar. You will draw eyes, because you are very attractive, as you enter this place, and so you'll see a bunch of people. Again, I could fill a 3-hour episode. What are your goals here?
I think I just want to, like, have a bit of fun. Just, I've been cooped up.
Are we starting a bar fight? Are we flirting with someone? Are we like what's fun in your book here?
Drinks, flirting, conversation, something like, not trying to start a bar fight, but definitely just like at least just trying to kind of like interact and kind of exist. Like, you get a drink, just just do something that isn't just constantly running around.
Gotcha.
Getting, putting ourselves in
having a pleasant evening. Having a pleasant evening. Okay. So
everything up to but not including getting in the harness to go into Undermountain.
Oh yeah, no way in hell I'm getting in that thing. But
right.
You say that.
She says that now.
You say that. Again, if I had a 3-hour episode, you'd be getting to that. DMs are good at that.
We just got out of there. Oh.
Okay. So, all right. I rolled a number that indicates you will not die. So, good news. The other good piece of news for you in terms of socializing in this place is you are an attractive elven woman. And so there's a lot of adventurers in here, and adventurers are pretty chatty, generally speaking. And so you will have no end of people who want to be your pal for a wide assortment of reasons. And so you'll get your opportunity to do that if that's what you want to do. I'll ask you this question as well. Are you looking to indulge yourself in a what lust would approve of way while you're here?
Good question. It's a very good question.
I think DMs do. We ask those good questions.
Basically, the way I'm thinking of it, without just being like all in, I think she would see how the night goes, and just kind of try to like relax, because I know that my intent is not to be out the entire night, but just to see how things go.
Okay, play it by ear. Let me put it to you this way: you will get offers. Like you will get many offers, mostly from men, but including a couple of fairly attractive women. No elves though, so it's human or bust, I'm afraid.
Fair enough. All right. Why the hell not?
Fair enough. So this is an adventurer. She's like pale-skinned, fairly tall, almost 6 feet tall.
Okay.
And long, dark black hair. Sort of like consistent with what a type might be based on what I've seen so far, right? And she's a cleric with an adventuring company, and she is a priestess of Shares, the goddess of pleasure.
Okay.
And cats.
And cats.
In
I like
fact,
cats.
she has one. A white furred cat with like very vibrant blue eyes.
Yeah.
So she's staying here with her adventuring companions who are planning an expedition into the dungeon. But they're more than happy to give you two the room if that's something that you are interested in doing after having a few lovely drinks here at the Yawning Portal.
Yeah, I think that's what Amara's doing for the night. We can
All right.
cut it.
Well, suffice it to say, you'll have a heck of a time, because Priestess of Shares. So that's what you're up to. We'll have to find out what trouble Randy gets into. And you're trying to make a point to scamper back before the dawn, yes?
Ideally.
Okay, so you'll do that. The best way to do that is to drop about a gold piece and get a cart, which will just hustle you back north.
Yeah, and I think she can manage that.
You've got a few gold laying around, if I recall correctly. There's some spending cash in the party. Okay, so you will do that. So that puts you all back, because Randy didn't die, at the place at night. You never slept, Allie. Never slept, because you just got in around the time that other people who might have tried to sleep would wake up. But you needed that, and you were feeling good. So there you go. Okay.
Yeah, I figured because having spent basically every moment since arriving with the same group of people, and the last several days.
They're a lovely group. But...
And the last several days staying in one single room with the same group of people, I just wanted to get the hell out. Just for a while.
I can see why that might be the case.
And the chance to just be a little reckless.
Okay, so Randy, let's talk for a moment about your side quest adventure. If I recall what you were telling me a few moments ago, Arton, you were going to let him get a carriage for you, and you want to sort of start your sightseeing with the Empire State Building of Waterdeep, which is Castle Waterdeep. Does that sound right?
Yeah, let's do some sightseeing.
All right. Is there anything in particular you want to do before you go? Write a quick will? Anything you want to take or not take with you? Any particular way you want to dress? Or just, your usual?
My usual. I'll have my, Gothic mace hanging at my side, and yeah, be sure to have whatever blades I have hidden about me, and that kind of thing. First, I want to be a tourist, but not look like a tourist. So
understood. Your choices are adventurer or adventurer. When you're kind of like armed and dressed flamboyantly, that's really what people are going to detect on you. Whether they think you're a local adventurer or a distant adventurer will depend in part on a bunch of things, including like what you're wearing and whatever. But you're in the city in the heart of the summer at a time where there's a holiday that comes once every 4 years. So literally you've got a smattering of everybody from throughout the Sword Coast in town at the moment. So it's a really cosmopolitan moment. So it's kind of hard for someone to say, unless you're like looking for street signs when you're wandering around, clearly that guy's not from here. They won't necessarily know who you are amongst all the other people that could be. So, okay. So you will wait for the carriage to arrive. It will show up about 30 minutes after it's been summoned. And the way they do carriages for small numbers of people is, there's a couple different ways, but the most common when you're getting a decent carriage, is single horse-drawn open carriage. So not quite, Disneyland Cinderella carriage or Times Square, New York, horse-drawn carriage, but kind of similar vibes to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Still kind of classy.
So I'm getting the, not getting the Uber X, I'm getting the Uber standard, but I'm not getting like this, the nice, like, yeah, I got you.
You've got like the lit lamps, oil lamps on either side of it to provide light for both the driver and, the people in the thing. But you don't have like the, cup holders and the, bottle of wine that goes along with the thing. But this is a solid thing. And the drover, the fellow who is, carting you about, looks like he's in his like early 20s, maybe, late teens, possibly. It's probably a family business.
Sure.
And the horse is, brown, kind of like roan colored horse. Looks more like a horse that draws a carriage than, a horse that you could ride. And he's dressed modestly, but, has a dagger on him. So like if he needed to defend himself, he could. And he'll greet you when you arrive. Good eve, sir.
Good eve. What's your name?
Telton.
Telton. Pleasure to meet you. I'm Randonius. Tell me, Telton.
Randonius?
Yes. Thank you. Well met as well. I imagine you've been driving lots of folks around. Tell me, is there like a happening party happening someplace?
The best parties were 2 or 3 nights ago, good sir. But this is the City of Splendors. There is always something interesting going on.
Cool. All right. Well, I'll keep that in mind for later. But right now, to the castle.
I was told by the master of the house that was the first thing that you wanted to see. Indeed.
Absolutely.
And your travels this evening have been paid for. So I will stay with you for as long as you want in any destinations that I take you to. And I'm told Excellent. I should have you back here by dawn.
That would be good. Yeah.
Very good. Onward, then, shall we go? And you'll start out. You're sort of on Cobblestone Street. I think it's Seldoon Street or Seldus Street. I forget which one is north of the Trollskull Manor. And you're going to take that, basically, you're going to take a left coming out of the Trollskull Manor, and you're going to take that for a couple of blocks until you hit something called the High Road, which is one of the main thoroughfares that takes you through Waterdeep. And it's sort of like the north-south road of the city that leads through this portion from all the way from the North Gate down to the Castle Ward around the square in which Waterdeep Castle is located. And
in medieval cities, usually streets are named for like the kind of merchants that are on them. Like Tanner Street has all the tanners, and so I'm wondering what High Street has. But anyway, we'll keep going.
If I had to speculate, I'm no Ed Greenwood, but if I had to speculate, I would say it's one of two things: either high noses, meaning because it runs straight up through Seaward and Northward and bisects those two wards, in fact, or it's the top. It's like the most towards the north street of the city. Also, is the city kind of like is at sea level when you are in Dockward, which is the southernmost point in the city, and it sort of climbs up as you get to the north. So maybe High Road or High Street is because, or the High Road is because, well, it's the highest point in the city. But again,
sure, we'll go with that.
I'm no Ed Greenwood. Hard to say. I don't think that there's anybody selling anything particularly, good here. So anyway, we will move south on the High Road, and your guide, the driver, is not going to keep up a constant prattle. Like he's not going to, entertain you the entire time by saying, and then that building, and then that building, and then that building. But he will point out big things along the way. So some of the landmarks within Northward or, edge of Seaward, you'll get pointed out. And it'll take you 30-something minutes to get from point A to point B, because even at night, and even reasonably late at night, because it is reasonably late at night, these streets are somewhat busy. And as I think I mentioned during our last chat about this part of the city, Northward, and remember, if Northward and Seaward are on either side of the High Road, it's very well patrolled. The cops are out in force around these parts because this is where the highborn in the city live. And so it's fairly safe, particularly when you're traveling along such a major road. So, I'm only going to roll my double zeros once.
Okay.
That's what fairly safe means, Randy. So let's see.
Excellent.
Let's see what luck has for us. 37. That's a totally normal number. No problems at all. So one thing that will occur when you get out from the side street, Silduth Sildun, to the high road is sort of quietly materializing next to you will be Jamal. And she's ethereal, as always, only you can see her. And she's dressed, kind of the way she typically dresses, which is, flowy skirts and colorful layers above that, almost sort of like a Romani approach, and her hair flowing freely. And she'll sort of sit in companionable silence with you, unless you have something that you want to say to her.
Well, how's adjusting to the whole, being a spirit thing going?
It's odd. I'm not going to pretend that it isn't, but I can do things like fly, and she'll hover up.
Oh, that's cool.
Over the top of the carriage, sort of moving along with it as it moves. That I could not do with the same degree of ease in life. So I suppose it has its advantages, and Finder's Grace has allowed me to see things like this. Beautiful city. I'm looking forward to the place that you're taking us. I've heard from those of my associates back in Westgate who visited Waterdeep that it's actually quite a grand sight.
Oh, so you're from Westgate, are you?
Yes, indeed. It's where you met me, it's where I was born, and it's where I passed. I left the city to explore other places, but I never went as far as the Sword Coast. Yeah.
My brain just totally glitched for a second there.
Waterdeep, or Westgate. Yes, that's where you're from.
Yeah.
But that's okay. She took that in stride. No worries. She's not at all bothered that you forgot that.
Yeah.
So anyway, so you'll travel, as I said, for 15 more-ish minutes to get to Castle Waterdeep, and your carriage will stop. And you have, the beautiful castle in front of you, and I have some box text for that. So I'm going to give it to you. So as you step out of the carriage, the night air of Waterdeep wraps you in its cool embrace. The moon, now 2 days past full, hangs high in the sky, casting its silvery glow over the streets and the towering Castle Waterdeep before you. Its light is accompanied, as always, by the faint, distant glow of the Tears of Selûne traveling in its wake like a celestial river of shimmering stars. Castle Waterdeep's walls rise like dark sentinels against the sky, towering spires, piercing the moonlight in an almost fairy tale fashion, festooned with flags and lit with many points of light that give the fortress an imposing but almost otherworldly presence. The streets around you in the Great Square, before the castle itself, hum with the activity of late-night travelers and locals, as the bustling energy of the day has dimmed to a quieter, more intimate level. Lanterns flicker on street corners, casting pools of warm light on the cobblestones, and the distant sound of laughter drifts out from nearby taverns around the square. The ever-present scent of salt water mixes with the gritty smell of the city, creating a blend of sea air and urban life that feels uniquely Waterdeep. It's definitely a different set of scents from you remember, or that you remember from Westgate, which is the only other major city that you've been in.
It's so Waterdeep.
It's so Waterdeep. As you get out of the carriage, Jamal just shifts, sort of leaps from sitting in the carriage seat to just standing next to you. Another one of those tricks of being incorporeal. Her ethereal self still vivid against the backdrop of the city. And she's catching the moonlight with her subtle movement because she's translucent. She's floating, as she was when she was showing you a moment ago, slightly above the ground. And her eyes are gleaming with a blend of sort of wistfulness as excitement as she's staring up wide-eyed at the castle itself. Magnificent, isn't it? She says, sort of softly. Clearly her voice is filled with wonder. So different from Westgate. Everything here feels cleaner, grander, and yet there's something else about this place. The people, sort of gesturing around the square, the way they move, the way they kind of look at the world around them, it's so full of hope. I never imagined I'd see a place exactly like this. Not in my lifetime, and certainly not since.
It's pretty fabulous. Yeah, reminds me of some of the bigger cities from where I'm from. Sorry that didn't have a chance to make Westgate more like this before you didn't get a chance to see it, transformed into something more like this.
I believe that with Finder's grace and the bravery of people like you, it will happen. Despite some of the things that happened to me in life, I remain an optimist. And who can't, looking on beautiful sights like this? And she'll point up into the sky at the moon, also Selune, and say, and to think, soon you'll be traveling to places even more wondrous. The Rock of Brawl, the Tears of Selune. And she'll sort of chuckle a bit as she says that.
But why do you find that funny?
I didn't know that the moon was a place that anyone could ever actually go. So to me, it seems almost absurd that you'll be walking the Tears of Selune. I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
I'm looking forward to doing it. It's going to be pretty cool. Pretty epic. I mean, the only people who get to go up into space right now are a bunch of, we got astronauts, and then there's a bunch of like idiot billionaires trying to measure their spaceships against each other. So
what is an idiot billionaire?
Oh, they're like an aristocrat who like luck is really like favored, but don't necessarily deserve,
How is that
position.
Different? How is that different from pretty much every noble?
Exactly. Yeah, they're kind of the nobles of our realm. Yeah, they run. We have an unofficial aristocracy and oligarchy, but yeah. But the moon, right? Am I right?
You are right. As you say that, you'll notice that she'll kind of like go distant for a minute. You know how like a dog sometimes is sitting next to you and then all of a sudden cocks its head like it's listening to something that you can't hear, right? She'll have that same experience. And she'll kind of get thoughtful for a moment and then turn back in your direction. Something tells me we should head to the dancing court in Southward. It's clear from the way she said that she doesn't know what the hell that is.
And by something, you mean Finder?
She will say, I think so. I just heard a bit of music. And I somehow knew of the existence of that place. I have no idea what it is, she'll say with sort of a playful grin. But I've been given the knowledge that if we go there tonight, we'll see something worth seeing.
Hey, that sounds fun to me. Let's do it.
Okay. So do you want to, stroll around this square for a minute? Okay, I've seen Castle Waterdeep. Let's tell the guy.
I'm taking mental pictures. taking a mental selfie, which is really tricky, She'll
ask you what you're doing.
Well, in our realm, we have instant paintings that preserve memories, and unfortunately, can't take any here. But you think are there devices in the realms that take instant paintings?
I do not know. I've never heard of such a thing before.
Create images of moments.
There are magics you can use to create an image that you've seen or one that you conjure in your mind. Spectral force and other spells of illusion. But I don't know of any that necessarily capture an image and turn it into a painting. That's quite fascinating.
Yeah. Well, I'm just doing it mentally right now.
And this is how it works?
Yeah, this is how it works.
Okay. She'll sort of point her camera up at the moon and she'll turn back and you seem pleased that she's done that.
Well done. And now whenever I go, you'll go, oh yeah, the moon. See?
Exactly.
See how it works? It's like magic.
I do. So
all right.
You'll get to the carriage, tell your driver that you want to go to. Do you remember?
The where the music is.
Yes, the music place.
Follow that music.
Dancing Court in Southward.
The
And he will
dancing court
say,
in Southward.
very well, an excellent choice, sir. You asked about parties. That is certainly a place where one can find one.
Oh, wow.
And you'll set off for that destination. That will take you another 30 minutes, and you'll take the high road south and basically a long sloping curve as sort of the North Ward, Castle Ward start to sort of fall out of, fall into your rearview mirror, so to speak. And the main street that bisects that section of town has Dock Ward on one side of it and South Ward. South Ward is a tradesman's ward, and it's also the ward that when you're coming through the city through the South Gate, houses most of the warehouses and caravan yards. And so there's a large percentage of people who aren't native born to Waterdeep who actually are in the South Ward. So you'll see the number of non-humans, elves, dwarves, tieflings, that sort of thing, increase as you're traveling through this particular ward.
That's super cool. What
Yeah.
all do I see? Do I see any dragonborn?
You do not see any dragonborn. You'll have
like
to ask
orcs
as to
and
whether there's a
half-orcs?
reason for that. No orcs and half-orcs. Mostly human, of varying races from around the realms. Because remember, anyone on the Sork Coast is probably going to visit one of its big cities during Shield Me. But also elves, and that's both moon elves and gold elves.
Cool.
And dwarves, and the dwarves are sort of harder to tell apart. Mountain dwarves, shield dwarves, and that sort of thing. So dwarves, from your perspective, don't look very different. Joel might have had a different perspective on that based on his dwarfdom. And halflings, they've got different sizes and different degrees of stoutness, right? Tieflings are rarer, and usually are either traveling singly or in groups of two. And they tend to move amongst themselves and sort of keep to the shadows. They're not.
I'm just I'm just taking it all in. I'm seeing real elves and real halflings and real dwarves.
And this city, by function of its size, puts Westgate to shame. Westgate is, I don't know, maybe a fifth the size of Waterdeep in total. And so really impressive place. Anyway, you will finally find yourself at your destination. You'll note that because the carriage stops. And as you arrive, the night air in South Ward is alive with the vibrant energy of the dancing court. This place is filled with music and laughter, which probably explains the name, right? People of all sorts, young street performers, townspeople, tradespeople, weary travelers alike, mingle and dance in the open square. The soft glow of street lanterns and the light of the moon overhead, reflecting off the windows of a rather impressive building. This must be that party place. The Jade Dancer, a famous fest hall that dominates one side of the square. It's built of timber and stone columns, its outer walls sealed with this slather coat of plaster into which mud bricks have been layered in slanting courses. The dancer looks like what it is. It's a warehouse with a grand front tacked on. Its upper floors open onto a broad two-tiered balcony overlooking the dancing court, which boasts intricate ornamental wrought iron railings and potted fruit trees, lemon trees, apple trees. Above the heavy wooden front double doors, the name Jade Dancer in letters that will sort of waver into something that you can read from sigils that you couldn't before, which is usually what happens when you're trying to read the native language, is emblazoned in swirling silver that shimmers as though it's catching some sort of magical light. The fest hall's windows are tall and narrow, filled with stained glass that depicts scenes of revelry and joy, dancers twirling beneath a starry sky, musicians playing instruments, and couples locked in tight embraces. Through the doors, faint strains of harp music drift out, mingling with the sounds of laughter and lively conversation, patrons spilling out onto the front steps, drinks in hand, many of them laughing loudly or engaged in their own little private conversations. The sounds of clinking glasses and music grow louder as you exit the carriage and begin blending with the murmuring of the crowd that's sort of dancing in the open square. People come and go, many dressed in finery, others in workman's clothes, stained from their day's labor, but all are kind of looking for a night of fun. Music drifts also from another harpist playing near the center of the square. A lilting, beautiful tune that stirs the crowd into spontaneous dancing. People twirl and sway, laughing as they take hands and form sort of impromptu circles. And then
I'll do like a this with Jamal so she can twirl.
Okay, so she'll put her hand up and do like a little. She's actually quite a good dancer. Twirl, even though you can't, feel her, you'll do it and she'll dance around and she'll sort of giggle with glee. And as you're doing that, surveying the scene, something truly magical happens. The moon hanging high in the sky, which looked just a few moments ago 2 days past full, suddenly grows impossibly bright. Gasps rippling through the crowd as heads lift upward to look at it. In an instant, it appears completely full again. Its light bathing the square in a silvery glow. High above, the tears of Selune twinkling behind it twinkle like diamonds in the sky, brighter than you've ever seen them before. And then something else appears. A silver light shimmering in the air, forming a soft blue gradient, goes from silver to blue, globe about 40 feet across in the sky above the square. People do not seem alarmed by its appearance. In fact, it seems as though most people here know what that is. Because they gasp at its appearance, but then squeal out in glee, and one after another, they approach the edge of the glow, which is about 5 feet off the ground. It's 40-foot sphere, but it's about 5 feet off the ground as it approaches the ground. They reach up their hands inside it, and as they do so, muttering something to themselves, roll percentile dice, since you actually have a pretty good detect noise.
I hear Glinda the Good Witch. Oh, wait. 15. Oh,
All
sorry,
right,
percentile dice. I rolled a
20-sided die? I was going to say, 15 is pretty good on a D100.
Apologies. All right. I got a 13, actually.
Even better.
A 10 and a 3.
That's actually pretty fantastic because a natural human with no training has a 15% chance to do this. So someone trained, you'll pick up that everybody's muttering their own version of a prayer to the goddess of the moon as they put their hands in. And when they do, they start to rise up off the ground, drawn upward by the magic of the sphere. And weightless, drifting into the air, as if carried by invisible hands, they begin to dance, floating gracefully in the moonlight, twirling and spinning, their movements fluid and free, as if they're dancing on the very air itself. Jamal is just shocked by this. There isn't quite anything like this in Westgate. You hear people muttering, and you realize that this thing is called the moon sphere, because that's what they noted when it appeared. And it doesn't take much of a leap of understanding to realize that normally this thing only appears on the nights of the full moon, and you were a couple days past that, but somebody has decided to change that fact, at least for the folks here, and give them and you an opportunity to experience the glories of this thing. Jamal, clearly excited by it, will say, "Care to join me now that we both can fly?"
Sure. Absolutely. I
Okay.
mean, how am I going to pass up a chance to fly? Let's do it.
Let's do it. She'll chuckle, again, clearly gleeful about experiencing this, and say, "I think this is a gift from Finder and the Moon Maiden. A dance for you, good sir. And she will put her hand out for you to take.
I will pretend to take it. and,
You know,
and
it's funny, Randy.
Yeah.
Because as you put your hand in hers, her touch is unexpectedly warm and solid.
Oh.
She doesn't seem to notice that. But you do. And
That's cool. Yeah.
as you move towards the gloating radiance of the moon sphere, something genuinely extraordinary happens. Jamal, ethereal just moments ago, steps fully into the light of the sphere and becomes corporeal, real, flesh and bone. The people around you notice her appearing out of nowhere, but they don't appear alarmed. They react as if she was just another reveler, perhaps a wizardess dropping out of invisibility to enjoy herself in the night. And it takes her a moment to understand what has happened, but when she does, she starts laughing, and you can see tears of joy pouring down onto her cheeks. They can see me, she says, spinning lightly on her toes in the air. Randy, I'm real.
This is amazing. Really quick, while you're corporeal, is there any food or drink that you wished you'd had before you became incorporeal?
I don't know. What is there to eat or drink here?
Well, what is your most favorite thing to eat or drink?
Czar. I really enjoy Czar.
Okay, well, I will wave to whatever the nearest waiter type person is and say, whatever it takes, get me some Czar.
All right. There are vendors hawking to the people in the crowd, and they'll be stunned by the appearance of the moon sphere, right? And so it'll take a moment. They'll have to pause in their commerce, and it'll take a moment for them to resume their commerce. But once they do, they'll quickly hustle to fetch you some Czar. And while they're doing that, she'll sort of start to draw you up into the air to dance. And together you'll sort of move weightless into the night sky.
Okay.
She'll look at you with a mixture of sort of joy and shyness, a slight blush coloring her cheeks as you dance higher and higher into the sky, floating amongst the other couples, because it's predominantly couples dancing up here. She moves gracefully, her deep brown eyes never leaving yours, her smile growing wide as the magic of the moment is sweeping you both away. All right, so bear with me for a second there, Randy. I think we had a little technical interruption.
Sure.
So let me back us up a second and we'll get to where we were. If I recall, you and Jamal were dancing in the sky amidst the other couples that were dancing in the sky. And she had been talking about the Tears of Selune and the moon. And she was just about to trade sort of a meaningful glance with you, right? And you'll notice as she's doing that, because she's now corporeal, you can feel her. She's a warm, living, flesh and blood woman. That the last time she was flirtatious with you, which is when she was for the first time a ghost, but it was within a dreamscape environment, right? It was right at the beginning of the season. She was bold and brash, and sort of aggressive, and planted a kiss on you, if I recall correctly. And you were like, what's going on? What's this lady doing? And now it's clear that she's flirtatious with you, but she seems terribly shy about it. She doesn't know how to be, because now she's not, a woman who had aged through her whole life and who is in her 50s. She's not a ghost, an ethereal being that exists in a dream. She's a girl again. She's a 25-year-old woman. And she hasn't had this experience for 25 years. And so this is completely new to her, right? And so she's got sort of a shy awkwardness that's kind of cute about Jamal that you don't normally expect from her, because she's usually dispensing wisdom or filled with self-possession. And so it's a little bit of a different experience. So so the two of you are doing that, sort of looking face to face. dancing through the sky, floating amongst the other couples, a slight blush sort of coming to her cheek. She's moving gracefully, her eyes never leaving your eyes, her smile growing wider as sort of like magic of the moment, like carries her away. What, if anything, do you want to do or say?
Well, I'm not Leonardo DiCaprio, but she is actually 50 years old. So,
so there you go.
I don't know. I will. I'll smile back, and I mean.
So you're giving her no reason to believe that you're not also feeling flirtation.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we're just enjoying the evening, dancing in the moonlight.
Oh, hang on. I just did it there. I think, Chris, you're not muted. And I just hid you as a non-video participant for some bizarre reason. Yeah, sorry, we gotta do that. Can you hear me, Tech Chris? Can you hear me? He has to unmute in order to tell me he can hear me. Okay, I think he's fine. Okay, so sorry. Back to and 3, 2, 1. All right, sorry, another little technical problem there.
No worries.
So I think you were saying, yes, you're open to the back and forth flirtation.
Sure,
So
yeah.
she'll, at some point, as you sort of are spinning lazily around each other, growing like higher and higher to the highest point of the moon sphere, because like I said, it's literally this 40-foot diameter circle filled with people. If you've ever seen the movie Ready Player One.
Unfortunately, yes.
Not a fan. Did you really like the book and you just didn't like the movie?
I wouldn't say really like. I liked the book.
Okay.
And didn't like
the movie just didn't do it justice. Yeah, they left out the Tomb of Horrors, Randy. I too was disappointed.
Yeah. There were a lot of
anyway.
issues,
They did have that nice scene in the dance club where they were dancing in like a 0G environment, and this is very much sort of like that, right? And as she's reaching, the two of you are reaching sort of the top of it, you can't help but look up at the moon again. So it's right within your gaze, and she'll say, "The tears of Selune, such sights. I'm looking forward to it, Randy. I really am." And her eyes and her voice have got kind of a dreamy quality to them. But then her expression gets, a touch more serious, and her eyes are sort of gleaming with a knowing look now. But there's something about that place, the Rock of Brawl and the Laughing Beholder. I've got a feeling, a sense that you and your friends can learn some very important things there. Things that can change the course of your journey forever. She gets closer, her gaze more intense, so you guys are almost nose to nose at this point. Keep your wits about you while you're there. Not everything is as it seems, and sometimes the most valuable lessons come from the strangest places. She gets a little less intense in her gaze, and her smile gets playful again. But I know you'll handle it. You've got a good head on your shoulders. And as she says that, she gently traces the line of your jaw with her hand. You're spinning together in the moonlight, the music of the harp blending with the soft rustle of a night breeze. Her fingers will tighten around yours as she leans in, and her voice drops to a whisper. The night is beautiful, isn't it?
Yes, but only half as beautiful as you.
Oh, in this moment, as a man, Randy, that this is a woman who wants you to kiss her. She is not going to kiss you, because the last time she did, you were like, why is this woman kissing me? But you can tell she would like that to happen. So really, this choice is entirely yours, Randy.
And she knows I'm from another world and that I'm returning to my world, right?
You know that she has been made flesh, but perhaps that won't last forever.
Right. Yep. Okay. Just trying to remember everything that we know.
Yeah.
Right.
We're summing up. We're summing up here.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. No, I will lean in and kiss her.
Okay. The moment sort of hangs there in the air.
Mhm.
And I mean, I don't know entirely about your romantic history, Randy, but this is a pretty impressive moment. Not typically are we in a magical world floating in the air with a semi-ghost woman. Like, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So the moment will be sort of like a near perfect one that you'll probably remember for the rest of your life. The world around sort of fading away as you float together in the blue glow of the moon sphere. And you know, there's a moment where your heart will almost stop and then beat faster as your lips meet, and the connection between the two of you being like genuinely electric. And her laughter when you break the kiss will bubble up, filled with this wild joy, and she'll spin away from you out into the moonlight, sort of inviting you to chase her.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
We'll dance around.
All right. You will do that.
Yeah.
But before you know it, all too soon, a cloud drifts across the moon, casting a gentle shadow over the square. And the glow of the moon sphere begins to fade as one by one, couples gently descend back to the ground. Jamal, seeing this happen, closes in, takes your hand, and the two of you start to descend. Do you want to say anything to her as you're doing that?
I hope that we have many, many more opportunities for moments like this.
She will give you a smile, sort of wistful, happy and mournful at the same time smile. The two of you will touch down on the ground, landing softly. And then her touch is gone. The moonlight, or the moon sphere is gone, and her form is once again ethereal. She'll give you a last wistful smile, and she'll begin to fade from sight. You'll catch a tear in her eye when she does that, like she knew that this was coming and she did not want it to happen. And she will say to you, as she fades out of existence, head into the Jade Dancer, Randy. Find someone alive to show you joy tonight. For the night, at least, is still young. And then she's gone. What do you want to do?
Well, I don't want to do that, but
Well, I don't want to do that. Okay.
it's not my style. But I will. I will sort of mingle with the crowd and look for some folks who seem to be really having a good time and kind of know that like when this party closes down, they're going to be on to the next one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And sort of settle in there.
Yeah.
The crowd
make
is
some new friends.
The crowd is sort of temporarily crestfallen, right? That the moon sphere popped back up and now it's gone all of a sudden. And you'll get from conversation because you're trying to be friendly and jovial with, random folks. And you're a bard and a clerical finder and you're Randy. So that's not a hard trick for you. And so you'll get from conversation with these people that that was weird. Normally that only appears on the night of the full moon. The moon spirit's here every full moon, but it's only the night of the full moon. So even the nights around the full moon where the moon is almost full doesn't come. And for it to just pop back up like the day after Shield, that's really weird, but there must have been some reason why that happened. You suspect, Randy, you know the reason why that happened.
I'll just say Finder works in mysterious ways.
And you'll get some people say, who?
And I'll be like, well, let me tell you about the glories of Finder.
It isn't just Elric that can proselytize. I can do that too.
No.
And so people will be interested. You will actually get people that are interested in hearing about Finder. And Finder's kind of a fun deity, right? Like he's not a scold like Helm. He's not off perpetrating genocide on the far side of the world. Finder's doing fun stuff. And so, you'll actually get some people that are genuinely interested in your conversation and have some good conversation with them. You will also spend the rest of your evening inside the Jade Dancer, because that's a place, Randy, that doesn't really close until the sun comes up. And the Jade Dancer is one of the both most famous and infamous fest halls in the entire city of Waterdeep. So it is quite an experience. And if we do a side adventure, like we do an Allie and Randy side adventure, I'll take you through it. But suffice it to say, you have a fantastic evening and make a bunch of new friends.
Awesome.
And are back because you've got a carriage waiting for you, or a cart waiting for you, ahead of Allie, and back before the dawn at the house.
And most of my own clothes on. All right.
And most of your own clothes on.
Excellent.
All right. So again, that was a fun side adventure. I like having these little side adventures, and I do genuinely hope that we have an opportunity to flesh it out. But thank you, Randy, and I will talk to you later.
All right.
Okay. So Eric, do you want to stand vigil all night long? Get an old conk out, because kids are great at sleeping.
Well, we learned a little bit about etiquette. We learned a little bit about house training a cat. We learned a little bit about grooming both cat and people. I think this was a pretty successful day.
I would agree.
I can't leave the kid unsupervised, so I'm gonna look around for things to read. And
would you care to peruse Volo's Guide to Waterdeep?
I would, yeah. So let's do that.
Okay, I will say this to you and to Randy. Feel free to read it, but the footnotes are not present. Only the original text. So, but consider yourself free to read Volo's Guide to Waterdeep and act on the knowledge contained therein. So that'll take your night.
I like how you use the word knowledge. Yeah.
Volo. Somehow a wizard.
Yeah. So again, that'll take the night. But you'll be like, wow, this is kind of cool. This is an actual Volo's Guide to Waterdeep. And you can tell it's typeset in that Gutenberg Bible sort of way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you will greet the dawn basically completing that book. Joel and Rhiannon, you went to sleep.
Sleeping.
Okay, how about that?
But before I conk out, I'm not actually going to read it, but I would like to check out the library and see if I can find any works related to the ancient Netherese pantheon.
Oh, geez. It's not that kind of a library, but let's see what we've got.
It's worth a shot.
Yeah, sadly, no. Best you've got is a general tome on the history of Netheril.
All right. I'll take it with me for now. We know we're coming back for the kids, so.
Yeah, so they won't mind if we
it's a
book
library. You borrow books from the library. That's what you do.
It's what one does in these moments.
Right.
You get the impression that your passenger is pleased.
Okay.
Learning. Okay. All right. So then what we're going to jump to as our last thing before we end our evening is the morning. And so in the morning, you're sound asleep, Joel. Randy got back before it got morning and was actually sufficiently tired out from his adventures in and around Castle Waterdeep. And so managed to conk out for a few hours. Allie, you're literally just kind of sneaking in the door past Mom. So you've got not a wink of sleep in the course of the evening. And Eric, like I said, you just close the back of that book as the dawn greets you. Rhiannon, you're asleep when you are awoken by a repetitive noise, which you try to dismiss at first, but at some point it's just it's this thing. I have to open my eyes to find out what this tapping is about. Okay.
Yep.
My question for you is, you're on the 3rd floor, and that gives you 2 choices as to what your window looks out at. One is Trollskull Alley, the other is Serdoon Street. Which bedroom did you want to claim?
I'll say the street.
Okay.
The one looking out at the street.
So you can already hear the sights and sounds. Well, you can't hear sights, but you can hear the sounds of busy people because the dawn signals the start to life in a city like Waterdeep. There is a water clock in this place. It's actually located in that room you arrived in. So there's a way of telling time, but other than that, you're on your own. The lights in the sky, that clearly must mean it's daytime. And so as dawn's light gently filters through the window of your third floor bedroom, that faint tapping stirred you from your slumber. It's persistent but soft, as if something was gently tapping on the glass of the window, like a bird, perhaps. You'll groggily open your eyes. You'll notice to your left that there is a ferret calmly sitting up, grooming itself, while paying half attention to what's at the window and half attention to you. And tippity tap, tippity 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 tap. There's something small over there, like just tapping against the window.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at the ferret first, obviously, but it's clearly not him. So I'll go over to the window, see what it is.
Okay. As you get up out of the bed, sort of groggily getting your feet underneath you, the ferret will hop down, move along the floor, and sort of keep pace with you as you head over to the window. You'll get a couple of feet outside the bed, and you will see that is a scroll, a rolled scroll, small, 6 inches maybe, light tan in color, hovering right outside the window. It's sealed with a green wax stamp from which tiny waxen wings have sprouted, fluttering delicately to keep the note aloft. It is tapping on the glass.
Yes.
I mean, it's not like I can escape it. This has all the hallmarks of like waiting outside the door to dive bomb me if I ever leave the house. So I'm gonna let it in.
Okay, so you will unlatch the windows, right? Okay, so you'll unlatch the window, swinging it open. A cool sea breeze flows into the room, bringing with it the scent of the sea and the city, and the scroll, which looks almost sentient in its like intent, begins to glide gently towards you, its little wings carrying it effortlessly through the air. However, before it can reach you, your ferret springs into action, his sleek, dark silver fur going past you, and with a graceful leap, he snatches it out of the air as if it were a wayward moth. The little wings flutter helplessly for a moment as he pins it to the ground with his paws, looking up at you, his bright green eyes shining with the thrill of the hunt.
Yes.
You
got something for this? Say again.
Were the ferret's eyes already green?
Yes, ferret's eyes were always green.
Okay.
So I'm gonna ask the ferret. It is clearly better if I don't touch this message. Can you like open it so I can read it from a distance and not touch it, or is that bad too?
He will turn in the direction of the thing and start batting it, right, with his claws. And it's on the floor. The wings will flutter weakly as if it was expiring, right? And he'll crack open the green wax seal. You'll know as he does that, because I assume you're sort of like getting down on the ground to be able to see what it is. The elegant crest of a snake catching the morning light. You recognize that symbol. That's House Gost.
Oh, okay.
So he's trying to use his back paws and his front paws to kind of stretch it out so that it's open and you can read it. Do you want to do that, or do you want to scoop it up?
I mean, this is the day for bad choices, so like I know Gost. I'm gonna pick it up.
Okay, I think we have the title for our episode. Okay, so scoop it up. All right, when you go to grab it, he'll roll off it when it's clear that you're going to pick it up. And you bend down and retrieve it from his grasp. You'll notice as you bring it up to read it that it's got the faint fragrant scent of jasmine emanating from the parchment, which is a subtle but refined touch. And the neat, precise handwriting in script, which you can read. It'll squiggle for a minute in your vision, and then it's just like English in script. It's like that whenever you read anything here locally. You have to stare at it for a moment, your eyes adjust, and it adjusts into something that you can comprehend. That's probably courtesy of your friends. My dear Rhiannon, it would be my great honor to host you and your companions for dinner at my residence this evening at dusk. Please join me at my tall house on Zendulth Street in the North Ward. I eagerly anticipate our continued conversation and the pleasure of your company. Yours in the art, Tormil Gost.
Well, I mean, yes. Does it have a little RSVP like tear off thing?
I think you just show up.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Okay, so you're like, oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
Your ferret companion will look up at you quizzically.
So are you saying this is sus? Because like I was just assuming this was just something that's
I think he's
nice.
saying I can't read, and I don't know what that said.
Very suspicious.
So I'll tell the ferret. You remember Tormil? You met him briefly. He's invited us to dinner. And I don't see any reason to question his motives. So I'm going.
He'll give you a little shrug and hop up on your shoulder. And that is where we will end our episode for the evening. Thank you all for joining us on, what was that? A series of bad choices, episode 9 of Isekai Realms Book 2. Over to you, Eric.
Hey, not all our choices were bad, which is a real step up from previous episodes in this series. Thank you for coming along with us. If you had not already, please join the Dungeon Scrawlers Discord. We have all kinds of discussions going on there all the time. We're adding new channels because we have a lot of new content coming out. It's a great place to hang out. I have been Eric Scott B, player of Elric Thalavar, the first Shadowbane. I didn't realize that it happened, but apparently it did. What have I done? Anyway, take it away, Allie.
Hi, everybody. I am Alexander Pitchford, LA for short. I'm a writer, game designer, and TTRPG streamer. You can find some of my writing on my Patreon, patreon.com/Alexander Pitchford. And no regrets. Honestly, I think a lot of I'm actually pretty satisfied with my choices. And
no, I think that went very well.
Yeah, getting to be a little bit reckless without being so reckless that I'm putting myself in deep danger.
I've been Rhiannon Held. Check out my books. I've got my urban fantasy. I like to call it Anthropological Werewolves. The Silver series under Rhiannon Held, and then I've got my space opera romance adventure series novellas. The first one is Clean Install, nice little bite-sized guy to try them out. Check those out under RZ Held.
Hello, everybody. I've been Joel Everett. Again, thank you for coming along with us on this journey, and thank you to all our sponsors. Chris, over to you.
All right, and thank you once again for joining us. And we hope you tune in for episode 10, which is shaping up to be something like Guess Who's Going to Dinner as a title, depending upon the choices the party makes in the next few moments of the game.
I'm definitely
all right,
in your outfit now.
Eric?
All right. Thank you so much. And sweet water and light laughter until next we meet.